Hey everyone, welcome to the latest edition of Get Sweaty. The crew's back once again. So it's me, your friendly neighbor, Soda, Matt Majot, joined by Ben Hot Take Rayner, by Sol. Well, how do you pronounce your last name?
Govin.
Sol Govin and Jordan Anderson. How are you all doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great.
Good. Just frustrated. I was playing South Park: The Stick of Truth this morning, and I can't. I have such a hard time with the mini game where you have to give Randy Marsh an abortion.
Wow. Yeah, I love that game.
Okay. It's such a hard. It's a hard mini game. Let's just say that. I'm not going to go into details.
Yeah, it's been a little tense at my place today because the Seahawks are playing the 49ers today. So those are my favorite team versus my wife's favorite team. So there's a little bit of tension today.
Oh, fun!
Yep. But it's a good time.
Hopefully your marriage stays intact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as the Seahawks win. Right.
Yeah. For me, it's whenever I'm visiting my uncle is in Calgary. His favorite hockey team is Montreal Canadiens. Mine's the Canucks. So whenever they play, we're at each other's throats.
Oh, nice. Good times.
Mm-hmm. Well, unfortunately, there's really no better way to say this, but we got some really bad news yesterday. Was it yesterday or was it Friday?
It's yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? He was 90. The passing of none other than Sean Connery. That was kind of out of the blue, but I mean, he was getting up there. So not overly totally surprising, but man, the guy left an indelible mark on pop culture. It's James Bond.
Yeah.
He's, Dr. Henry Jones Jr. Sr.
Yeah.
The Hunt for Red October, The Untouchables, and I know this is the movie that made him retire, even The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah.
So what are you guys' thoughts on Sean Connery?
Well, for me, he's someone that I loved his whole entire body of work, even some of his lesser known films. Like I'd always see him pop up, like even on like the original Murder on the Orient Express. He was in that one. He's also in the Highlander movies too, and then he's also in the Avengers movie from the 90s, not to be confused with Marvel's Avengers. There was an original Avenger about some British spies that is actually a pretty fun watch if you ever get the chance to watch it. But and also Sean Connery is one of my wife's biggest celebrity crushes. So. And she prefers him from The Hunt for Red October. So she doesn't really go for the young one. She goes for the older one. That's just her. So, yeah.
Is it for me? The first time I saw him was in the 1961 Macbeth, because we were reading Macbeth in middle school, and so then our teacher popped that Macbeth in, and it also had Zoe Caldwell played Lady Macbeth as well. So It was. So that was like the first time I saw him on screen, and then I haven't seen the James Bond movies that he was in, but I love the music from there. Just as a band kid, we played that music, and so I've always meant to go back and watch those movies. And now there's like even more reason to go back and watch his film.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of him from Indiana Jones. And, of course, the James Bond. Lord, he was great. I mean, you wouldn't have James Bond now without him in the beginning. Yep. And
if he was the OG.
He just was perfect in that. And I don't know if you guys know this. Did you know he turned down a movie because it looked he didn't think it looked good?
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Wow. Okay.
You're going to Indiana.
That's one I can't picture. Like it's always Korean.
I can picture it. Like it'd be fun to maybe see like some like screen tests. I don't think they got that far, but I would love to like see that in like an alternate universe.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm with Ben. My first introduction to him was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and it's still in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. And like Soul, I've never seen the OG James Bond movies. Now I've seen.
So
clips,
now we need to do that.
Yeah. It's one of those things. None of the James Bond movies are streaming up here.
I see.
Yeah, so that's part of the reason. But yeah, and also there's a movie I forgot to mention earlier, The Rock.
Yes, The Rock.
Yep, The
Which-
Rock.
Great
A
movie.
lot of
films.
conspiracy theory people out there like to say that his character is his James Bond character.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Because his character in The
Interesting.
Rock is a former British spy who was in prison for stuff he did in the past and whatever. And a lot of the other things they say in the movie is just like, oh, that lines up with Bond.
I kind of like that idea. I'm right now going down some internet rabbit holes to see this.
Yeah, it's a pretty one of the more entertaining theories.
Yeah.
Oh, and all any of you guys seen The Untouchables?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, the
Classic.
Chicago Way.
Yep, with him and Kevin Costner. Yep.
Yeah, the movie that won him an Oscar.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely won an Oscar. And when it comes to the James Bond movies, I think that I've seen 4 out of 5 of his. So he was in Doctor No, he was in Thunderball, he was in From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, and You Only Live Twice. And the only one that I haven't seen is You Only Live Twice, but I've seen all the other ones.
Isn't he in Diamonds
Never-
Are Forever as well?
He
What one?
was Never Say Never Again, the unofficial Bond movie, which is a
Okay,
remake.
yeah, right. Yeah, that was kind of like the unofficial, like you said. Yeah.
Wasn't he in Diamonds Are Forever as well, or was that another Bond?
Oh, hold up. Glory of the internet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Dr. No, Russia with Love,
Yep.
Goldfinger, Thunderball, You Only Live Twice, and then Diamonds Are Forever and Never Say Never Again.
Okay, so it wasn't
Alright.
Diamonds Are Forever too. Okay.
Yeah, because they did Lazenby, and then I think he came back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I remember. Yeah.
So I have
I
not
know-
seen Diamonds Are Forever either, but
What's funny is I know like who's in the movies of each of the titles, but I've never seen them other than Daniel Craig, and then Die Another Day is the non-Daniel Craig one that I've seen. Pierce Brosnan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen the 2 arguably iconic James Bonds. I haven't seen Sean Connery's. I haven't seen Roger Moore, but I've seen all the Daltons. I've seen all the Brosnans, and I've seen all the Craigs, obviously. So
yeah, the first person that I thought of when he passed away was actually Mike Kalinowski, and I know he's a huge James Bond
Yep.
fan, so like he knows everything about James Bond inside and out. So I'm a little curious to see if he's done anything on his channel to like kind of just like do a remembrance or talk about Bond or something like
the
that.
only thing he did was he does these daily inspirational posts, and he did one yesterday in honor of Sean Connery.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
Nice.
cool. I'll definitely have to check that out.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
that's something that he's doing that is so great, and like there's the positivity that he's bringing out in the world. Like we all need that, and so I just commend him for doing that, and just
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
No, the dude was a major part of pop culture. Like, I mean, the guy left a massive mark. So 90 years old, man, that's a long time to live.
it's a good life.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying about 2020 can go suck us off. Took another one. No, this one is not 2020 related. The dude was 90.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it just adds on to the power of 2020, but it's less of a sad one and more of a we can celebrate his life. Whereas, like, there's other people like Chadwick Boseman or like Kobe Bryant earlier this year that those were really, really sad ones.
Yep.
Yeah, and also let's not forget this.
That was awesome.
Zardoz, which was, if I'm not mistaken, between his 2 stints as James Bond.
That's what he left James Bond for.
Yeah, when you first showed us that, I was like, WTF? What am I seeing right now?
Yeah, but anyways, thank you very much, Mr. Connery, for everything you've given us, all the classic impressions, should have mailed it to the Marx Brothers, and all that stuff.
I want to mention one thing. I'm sorry.
ahead.
Saturday Night Live Celebrity Jeopardy will never be the same.
No.
Oh, I know. You have the classic Daryl Hammond doing
Yeah.
the Sean Connery impression. Yep.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna steal Kevin Smith saying when he eulogizes someone, his life was a big bucket of win. Really, it was, or in this case, a cauldron of win.
Yep.
Except for those comments he made about women in the 80s. Let's just forget about those.
Yeah. Right.
But yes, rest in peace, Mr. Connery. Hopefully there's a fully stocked martini bar up in the head, wherever you are.
Yes.
Yep. Definitely. Yeah.
All right. And so from there, we're going to go into our entertainment news. So Jordan, if you wouldn't mind taking it away, please.
Yeah. So we're going to kick things off here with the news that Oscar Isaac is in talks to star as Moon Knight. So that's kind of been one of the biggest stories to come out of this week. And I'm somewhat familiar with Moon Knight. To me, he's always kind of been like the Batman of the Marvel universe to me. I mean, he does have a little bit of powers in some comics, but I've read some comics where he doesn't always have those powers. So I'm not sure which version they're going to go with. I kind of feel like they're going to go with where he does have power, so he kind of falls under the Moon Knight moniker a little more. And I'm just gonna for anyone who's not familiar with Moon Knight, I just got a quick little history of who Moon Knight actually is. So in the comics, he's known as Mark Spector. He's a former boxer, CIA agent, and mercenary who found himself near death after being betrayed by his employer, Raoul Bushman, when they stumbled upon an archaeological dig, which Bushman intended to loot for profit. As he lay dying, Spector was approached by the Egyptian moon god Khonshu, I think that's how you say it, who offered him a second chance at life in exchange for becoming his avatar on Earth. As a result, Spector was resurrected and given superhuman abilities. And upon his return to the United States, he invested the money he had accumulated as a mercenary to make a fortune and become the crime fighter known as Moon Knight. He also created multiple IA identities, most notably that of millionaire Stephen Grant, to distance himself from his mercenary past, and also as a taxi cab driver named Jake Lockley to remain in contact with the street and the criminal element. So, but in all those elements, especially the investing all of his money and becoming rich and just using all of his money to kind of help him be able to do a crime fighting. That's where I see a lot of similarities to Batman, and also too, whenever Moon Knight is a playable character in any video game, he's always my go-to. I just love the look of him. I love the whole entire character with the white hood, the white cape, all of that. But are any of you guys very familiar with him on the Moon Knight character? What are you guys' thoughts? Do you even know much about him?
Outside of that, he's supposedly Marvel's Batman, and also that he has multiple personalities and a kick-ass costume, I really don't know much about Moon Knight.
That's pretty much what I know of Moon Knight as well. I know too that there was some controversy online when Oscar Isaac was cast, because Moon Knight, apparently his character is Jewish, and since Oscar Isaac is not Jewish, people were getting upset about that. And I can understand with like representation wise, but it was kind of like the weird, like, yay, Oscar Isaac. Oh wait, but he's not Jewish.
Right.
Well, I've got a hot take on that. Like, if it's outside, if it's, you're casting someone who's a different color than the character, I really don't think it should be that big of a deal, because really one of the points of acting is to transform yourself into something completely different that you're not. So I mean, hire a non-Jewish actor to play a Jewish character. I mean, for me personally, that's like really low on my list of worries.
Yep, same.
And I think too, it kind of helps too that he's like Latino as well, so it's not like they were hiring another like white man to like whitewash. And I think too, either he has some like ancestry that like, even though it's not him or his parents, but it's like somewhere far down the line that there's some Jewish ancestry. I think people were like arguing, is he really Jewish or not? And it was a really weird rabbit hole that went down the internet of people just being upset for this.
Yeah. And I do want to premise that, like, if you are upset that a non-Jewish person was cast, like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not
Right.
saying anything like that. Like, I understand it, and I believe you. But it's just, for me personally, I want to see someone who's going to do justice to the character.
Right.
Right.
So it'd be a little different if, like, they cast Michael B. Jordan in the character. I'm like, well, but Moon Knight's not African American, and like the other way around, like with Ghost in the Shell and stuff, right? It's a little different when it's skin tone as opposed to ethnicity.
And I think too, like if you look at characters like Nick Fury was originally a white man, and then now it's Samuel L. Jackson. So I think too, with, like I said, the fact that he's Hispanic, kind of like, not that it makes it right, but it's like not whitewashing, to like my opinion. It's like we're putting something in, and hopefully goes with other characters that are Jewish. They can get Jewish actors for that, but you never know those. And so I think this one, it's a tricky line, but for me, I wasn't offended, but also I'm not Jewish. So
exactly.
I am Jewish.
Oh,
I know. I know it can. I don't care.
Really, it's what it should come down to is, okay, he's cast. Let's see what he can do.
Exactly. Exactly.
If you can keep the core essence of who the character is, then I'm fine. I don't even care.
Exactly. And like to the Nick Fury thing, they changed him to African American in the comics way before Samuel L. Jackson was cast, and actually they modeled him after Samuel L. Jackson, so it was kind of perfect. So I mean, it's one of those things, like if it happens it happens in print too, so whatever.
Hey, listen, if news came out tomorrow that Michael B. Jordan was going to be the new Superman, I would be excited. He's a good actor, and I think he would do a good job.
Yeah, and there's also an African American Superman in the comics who was president.
Yep. I think the same when people were getting upset goes about the possibility of who was it?
Idris
a black
Elba.
a black actor to play Spider-Man, and they're like, Spider-Man's not black, and I was like, obviously you're not a comic book fan because you don't know about Miles Morales.
And it's like, when for a long time, you'd hear like Idris Elba for Batman or whatever. The thing is with Batman, his background does not play a role into his character. He's a white guy. Like with that, you could easily cast a black person or a Latino person or whatever, and everything else about the character would still be the same because his, part of who he is has got nothing to do with what he looks like.
Yep, I'd agree totally. And also, one little tidbit of information I wanted to throw in there, like why they actually call him Moon Knight, because he has increased strength, speed, and endurance depending on the lunar cycle. So depending what phase of the moon, then he has different powers and abilities, and they're different strength levels too. So,
that's very interesting.
So
I didn't know that.
It'd be kind of fun to like kind of see if they play into that, or like how they're, or like what like take they're gonna have for the character. So,
I hope they do, because if, like, let's say he's gonna fight like the same villain or something, he could lose like when there's like a crescent moon, but if it's a full moon, he might overpower that villain. So that would be something cool to think about, is that he has different strength levels depending on the moon. That's very interesting.
Yeah,
that's a take on powers that we've never seen before. So I agree with you. That would be a really interesting thing to see happen.
Yep, definitely.
All right, Ben, what's next?
You mean Jordan?
Sorry.
Yeah. So next, we got the news of Tiny Toon Adventures that will be returning on HBO, and this news kind of goes along with the Animaniacs returning. So it's been almost 30 years since we've seen Tiny Toon Adventures on TV, and they're returning with a 2-season straight to order on HBO. So I mean, they're already getting 2 seasons right from the get-go, and something that I was a huge fan. I actually have the whole entire theme song of Tiny Toon Adventure memorized. I mean, I could sing it, but I'm not going to do that disservice to hear me sing. But
we don't have that many subscribers as is. We don't want to lose.
Yeah, I don't want to lose subscribers. But I'm a huge fan of both Tiny Toon Adventures and Animaniac. They're both going to be produced again by Steven Spielberg. So they just have really incredible writing and just like some of my favorite cartoon series of all time. And also like with Tiny Toon Adventures, you have a wide range of characters. Also, there's literally a character based off of every single Looney Tunes character. So yeah. But what are you guys' thoughts? Did you guys grow up watching Tiny Toon Adventures? What are your thoughts?
I will let you guys go first.
Because but I grew up watching them, and because this is a cool idea. Because I don't know how much I'm gonna go back and watch. Probably like if I'm with my niece who's 3 years old, I might like show her and watch it with her. But this is kind of like a medium. It's like, oh, I'll watch it if it's on kind of thing. It's not one of a like, oh, I'm so excited. So that's kind of where I'm at with this.
How about you, Ben?
I'm actually growing up. I'll check it out, but I'm not, oh my god, I'm looking forward to it. I like all the characters, and I wouldn't mind seeing them again. And yeah, that's really it about that.
I'm pretty happy that they're coming back, but I'm also like you guys. Like I will check it out. Just don't know how long I'll last, and you never know. Like it could hit out of the park, and I might end up watching it.
And if it's awesome, I will eat my words.
It's like we see. I can't wait to see a trailer because we see what they're going for with Animaniacs and like how they're going to modernize it and stuff like that, which I can't wait for. So I'm curious to see what they do with Tiny Toon Adventures.
I do feel like you're getting a little too much Montana Max in real life. I really feel like we need to blow him.
You think they're going to make him blonde in the TV show?
Peanut orange, I don't know.
Little orange tint to his skin, right?
Yeah, with a little bit of white where the tan line ends.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it sounds like we're all, somewhat various degrees of excited to see this come back because honestly, these were really good shows back in the day.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. So
this was definitely something that I watched a lot as a little kid.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going to ask for your age, but I'm assuming you're in the same age group as us, I guess, because we're all in our early.
I think I'm a little younger than you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're still in your 20s. Okay, gotcha.
But you have seen the original, so
yeah.
Yes.
So win-win. Okay, so what's next there, Jordan?
All right. So next, we got the news that there's going to be an Insidious 5, and it's going to be directed by Patrick Wilson, who was the star of the original Insidious, and then also Ty Simpkins returning for it. So, and Ty Simpkins, he was the little boy from the original Insidious who ended up astral projecting his spirit into what's known as the Further. So it's like this Insidious, they call it, but it's an insidious place where like the most like malevolent spirits and demons live. It's kind of like another plane of existence, pretty much. And
let's not forget that Ty Simpkins is also the person at Tony Stark's funeral that nobody recognized.
Yeah, just the random boy that's there.
From Iron Man 3.
Yep, from Iron Man 3. Yep.
Yeah, I hope they do something with him. I really do going forward.
Yep.
And one thinking about that. I always felt in that Iron Man funeral, that kid should have been Stan Lee instead of a kid, in my opinion.
Yeah, that would have been cool. It would have been fun. But
yeah.
But for me, I just wanted to bring up this Insidious news because the original Insidious is actually my favorite horror movie of all time. Like, it's my number one favorite horror movie. Because I remember when I first saw it, that movie scared me to death. Because when they meet the like painted guy that's like painted black and red, and he looks so creepy when they first see him. He's like in this cage. He has these big long fingernails, and he's like sharpening them on some kind of grinder. And then you have the scene where he's chasing him down the hall when he makes it out of the Further and into the real world, and he's like crawling on like the side of the wall. And then also the scene where you see him pop up behind Patrick Wilson, and you see that face that looks kind of similar. It's like a Darth Maul with like crazy hair or something, but like it was like really terrifying. Like that movie like definitely gave me nightmares. But the original one was my favorite. The sequels were they're okay, nothing really great, but the original, if they're gonna play off of that one, and then I'm definitely excited for it. So yeah.
You're a horror buff, so because I know if you say something is good in the horror realm, I'm gonna trust you on it.
Oh yeah, if you want a good scare, like a solid scare, that watch the original Insidious. Because like not only does it have really good scares, like it's like super fun, super entertaining. It even has some humor thrown in there too. And so yeah, it's definitely a fun watch.
I have never seen Insidious.
Yeah.
Neither have I. I'm a total wimp when it comes to horror movies.
I see. It's not, for me, it's not that. It's just I just haven't got around to it. I was really late on the Conjuring train as well. So
I've seen The Conjuring.
I'd say that the original Insidious is a definite must-watch, but the sequels are like if you really enjoyed the first one, you could give them a watch. But you definitely like. I kind of feel like they're going to play right off the first one. So I'm guessing you can watch the first one and then jump right into this new one that's coming up because it's going to have the original cast and it's taking place as Dalton. So in the movie, he was about, I want to say about 10 years old in the movie, or maybe 9, 10. And so now they're going to pick up as he's leaving for college is what what's going to be. So
that sounds about right because I've got it up here on iTunes, and yeah, 2011. So you add about 9 years. Yeah, that's about right. That's the right age.
Yeah. Yep, and Ty Simpkins is an awesome actor. I mean, for Iron Man fans, and I mean,
Jurassic World.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he's in Jurassic World too. I totally forgot about that one.
Yeah. It's funny. You saw him in Insidious, you saw him in Iron Man 3, and then you saw him in Jurassic World, and then he kind of dropped off.
Yeah, right. So
we saw him in Endgame.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like that's his cameo. But I mean, like as a prominent actor.
Fair enough.
Maybe he's trying to make a comeback after COVID.
Yeah. No kidding.
A lot of people will be trying to make a comeback after COVID.
But to be fair, though, Ty Simpkins in the movie, he's in a coma for most of the movie, so you don't really get to see a lot of him acting. You see a little at the beginning, a little at the end, and then he's in a coma the rest of the movie.
Oh.
And they're trying to wake him up because his spirit went somewhere else, so they gotta try and wake him up.
So it sounds like I should definitely check out Insidious.
Yep.
Okay, so what's the last item on the entertainment news there, Jordan?
So the last one, we'll just jump into just a couple of trailers. I just want to mention them quickly. So we had a trailer come out for the reboot of Saved by the Bell. We had that one that I'm super stoked. So you're gonna have the original 4 back to Bayside High. So you're gonna have Zach, Kelly, Jesse, and Lisa, which at first they did not have Lisa on the list, but just this week they confirmed that Lisa will be in it. So.
She's coming back.
Yep. So
5 of the 6 all back.
Yeah. And just a quick little synopsis of it. So you have Zach Morris is now the governor of California, and he gets into hot water for closing too many low-income high schools. So he possesses a new plan to send affected students to higher performing schools, which includes, you guessed it, Bayside High. So
Zach Morris doing something corrupt. Shock.
Yeah, shocking. Yeah. You know, it reminds you of those YouTube videos. I don't know if you've ever seen the Zach Morris is trash. Have you seen those?
Yes, and actually got something on that. He's Mark Paul Gosselaar actually has a podcast now with the guy who does those, and they actually do it's like the office things and stuff like that, where actually go over an episode a week of Saved by the Bell because Mark Paul Gosselaar has not seen any of them since he filmed.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really good. I'm not caught up, but I listened to the first 6 episodes, and it's really, really interesting to hear someone look back on their career when they haven't seen it since they did it.
Yeah, right.
How come back do they go?
They don't do Good Morning Miss Bliss. They just start at the beginning of Saved by the Bell.
Okay, no.
Actually, Mark Paul Gosselaar, he's actually a legit actor. He's actually really good. So me and my wife watched a series that's called The Passage that he was in, where essentially he's like sort of like a caretaker of this girl that he finds that has some psychic powers, and so they're on the run because there's government agents after them trying to get this girl, and he's essentially trying to protect her. So that was a lot of fun. He also was in that series Franklin and Bash too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely watched
I was a big fan of Pitch. Did you guys ever watch that? Only lasted a year, but
No, I never saw that
he plays a pitcher for the San Diego Padres on the downturn of his career, and the main character is the very first woman to make it to the professional leagues. It's a
now I am writing this down to watch.
yeah. It only
Yeah,
lasted
pretty
1
cool.
year, but damn, was it good.
Nice.
Did you guys see on Jimmy Fallon? It was about 5 years ago, or maybe even 7 now. When Jimmy Fallon actually got most of the cast together again for a reunion, and then actually acting out a new scene.
Yep.
Yep.
Jimmy Fallon as a student at Bayside.
With a very pregnant Kelly Kapowski.
Yeah,
A very heavy principal building.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yep. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, and I don't know if you guys know, like, so we're definitely not getting Dustin Diamond back as Screech. I know
We never would.
He's like getting, he's been arrested. He had that like crazy sex tape come out, and then he also wrote some kind of tell-all book that like exposed a lot of secrets of like the cast. Like, and like I don't know if like even all of them were even true. I think some of them like weren't even true. So,
well, he's also been feuding with the cast since way before that book came out. Like they really the only one that only ever kept in touch with him was Belding.
Yeah, right. And Screech to me it was a super fun character. So I mean, a little sad that like he became such like a weird guy in real life. Like I mean, it's like everything I've seen, and like the best word I have for him is just weird. Like he's just, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm actually really excited this because I'm a big Saved by the Bell fan.
There you go.
I love the college years. I'm probably one of the few that does. I think it's way better than the original. I will admit, going back and watching the show, it's a little weird, cringeworthy at times, but it's the whole nostalgia thing for me. So I can't wait to see these characters back again.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
I haven't seen it, Saved by the Bell, since I was younger. They would play the reruns, kind of like after school. So I would come home from school and Saved by the Bell would be on. So I don't know if I've seen every single episode, but I've seen like certain episodes here and there.
I've got every episode on DVD, except for the Good Morning Miss Bliss stuff, because they've never released it. Like it would air occasionally in syndication, but they've never released it.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know about up there, but it's on Hulu. The whole.
Oh, is it? Okay.
The whole.
No, what I mean by they never released it was they never released it on DVD or home video or anything like that.
On Hulu right now, all 5 seasons, including Miss Bliss, you can watch anytime.
Oh, nice.
All I gotta do is go into my room here and just grab my DVDs. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, one more thing that I just wanted to just throw out there really quick is, did you guys hear about this movie Songbird? So they had this like crazy trailer that just like I don't know why they're even making this movie, especially so soon. But it's a trailer all about COVID and about what they think is going to happen with the COVID virus in the next 2 years. But it's like crazy over the top. And the movie actually has like a huge cast. So you have Demi Moore, you have Bradley Whitford, you have Craig Robinson. Peter Stormare even makes an appearance. Even Paul Walter Hauser is in this thing. But it's like
AJ Appa from Riverdale.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so but it's like this crazy, like totally over the top, just like all about like they have a new strain of COVID. I think they call it like a COVID 23 or something. Yeah, and it's like everyone's on like a super quarantine where the military is coming out with guns and like they're after anyone who they think might possibly be affected. And you see just I don't know, you see like a bunch of chaos. You see like explosions. You see like just like families being separated. You see like,
Michael Bay doing Michael Bay.
Yeah, yeah. Like totally.
Is he just producing it, or is he also directing it?
He's just producing it. So
I know that he's producing, but does you sure that some of his notes were like probably like more chaos?
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, for sure. And also too, like I just wonder how fast they had to get this movie out to already have this much footage. Like they would have had to start right when COVID hit. I mean, they probably if I remember right, when I looked it up, I think that they actually started filming at the beginning of April. So like I mean that's not too far after COVID like first hit. So that's like Like they're kind of crazy. I don't know why they're making this movie. I think it's just way too soon. I mean, there's still people dying from COVID every single day, and they're coming out with a movie like this. Just seems a little like much for me. But I mean,
yeah, it happens. Like, I mean, we've had movies come out really quick after disasters, like Flight. God, what's that flight for 9/11?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was, the World Trade Center and stuff like that. So I mean, it's not uncommon. This kind of reminds me of The Purge.
Yeah,
which I think they said too that like it was one of the producers of The Purge is on this as well.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with this kind of like with Michael Bay, like, is he gonna really have the nuance and the care to speak about COVID-19 in a movie? And so obviously, like, because with me, like, there's always that, is this too soon? And if it was like a director that had that nuance and care, then maybe I'd go like see it. But I agree with Jordan here. Like, seems way too soon, especially with people still dying from COVID-19. Yeah. And then also just one thing with the trailer, which I hate when trailers do this. Did they show the very end of the movie with like the boyfriend making it to her door?
Yeah,
like the whole movie, the boyfriend's away from her, and then at the very end of the trailer, you see the boyfriend at the door. So I'm like, did we just see the whole movie in this trailer?
Possibly.
The thing that I took most from the trailer is that anyone else think Peter Stormare looked like Ken Knapsack from his Pit Boss days of the Schmoes?
Yes. Yes,
okay, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit.
With the long hair, but Peter Stormare, he always plays
hair.
He always plays the best villains though. Like he's my favorite villain. Like whenever I see him pop up, like I'm always excited for him. I'm not really excited for this movie, but I'm always excited for some Peter Stormare. Definitely.
I'm with you guys. I 100% think it is too soon, but I watched the trailer and I gotta admit I'm actually looking forward to seeing it. It looks like it's gonna be a decent movie. But again, I 100% agree with you. It is too soon.
I couldn't finish the trailer. I mean, I'm not seeing this. You can't pay me enough to see this.
No, fair enough. Like, I'm not going to go watch it in theaters or whatever, but, it's sad to say, but that could potentially be our future.
Yeah. And I think this is the first of many movies that are going to tackle the COVID-19 issue. So this is just like, okay, here's the first one, and what's going to happen going forward with this topic.
Wait for the I'm going to right there. Wait for the I can't think of it. Wait for somebody who is
a Christopher Nolan COVID.
There you go.
What I'm actually more curious about was how they made it. Because I'm assuming it was, everybody was shot in their own location.
Right.
I would see the documentary on how they made the movie before I see this movie, to be honest.
Fair enough. Yeah, again, like I said, I actually am curious to see the movie, but it's not a movie I'm gonna go out and seek. If it pops up, yes, I'll check it out. But I'm not gonna go, rush to the head of the line sort of thing.
Yeah, it's one of those ones I just want to see out of sheer curiosity. It's kind of like that for me. So
yeah, pretty much.
If it pops up on Netflix, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much like where if I don't have to pay any extra money for it, I'll watch it.
Yeah. Yes.
It feels like a TNT movie to me.
It kind of does, yeah. With some over the top Michael Bay stuff.
Yeah.
We don't have TNT up here, so I'm not going to comment on that.
I
know.
Cable movie.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. No. I know. I'm just bugging. Come on. I'm not that disconnected up here. I do know who TNT is. Okay. So that everything, Jordan?
Yeah. That'll do it for entertainment.
Okay. So Ben and I are going to pop out for this segment because Sol and Jordan are going to be talking a little bit of sports. I'm going to pop in when we hit it to the MLB section. But other than that, it's all on you guys.
All right. Sounds good. We'll catch you in a few. Yeah, so I'm going to start off here with the NBA news. So there's not a lot because NBA is obviously not they're in the off season. So I think they're getting ready to kick off the next season. I think I heard January 15th is when they're going to kick off the next season. So they're going to kind of have a little bit of a truncated off season, which will be be kind of interesting. I'm wondering how they're going to do stuff like the NBA draft, all of that during COVID times. It'll be kind of interesting. But
And also with the players that live abroad, goes how that's going to be taken care of with them coming back to the United States to play.
yeah, right.
So it'll be very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So I just want to just touch on a few coaching news. So we got word that Mike D'Antoni is going to join Steve Nash as the assistant coach of the Brooklyn Nets. And Mike D'Antoni is someone who I've always seen him as a head coach. I remember seeing him coach the Houston Rockets, the 76ers, the Lakers, even the Phoenix Suns. He's probably coached about I want to say maybe even 7 or 8 different teams, but he's always been a head coach. So now he's going to be an assistant coach with Steve Nash, which I'm excited to see Steve Nash coach. I think he's going to be awesome.
It's going to be exciting. And maybe the reason that he's taking the assistant job is kind of to just work with Steve Nash. Because it depends on, 1, who you're working with, and 2, what that paycheck looks like.
Yep, exactly. And also, we've seen quite a bit of success seeing former players coach. Like, look at Steve Kerr, what he's done with the Golden State Warriors. I mean, he's turned them into like an absolute powerhouse. I mean, he has a pretty stacked team, so I mean that kind of helps a little bit. But I mean, he's been a phenomenal coach, though. So I mean, I'm excited to see what Steve Nash does.
The Brooklyn Nets definitely need it. So if they can bring something to the Brooklyn Nets for them to play a little better, they'll probably very much appreciate it up there.
Yep, they need all the help they can get for sure. And then also too, it just kind of goes along with Jason Kidd as a coach of the New York Knicks. So that's another player coach. And then also we got news this past week that Amari Stoudemire, his former teammate, is going to be his assistant coach. So that should be pretty interesting. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen there. And then
seeing all of these moves, kind of like, it's like, okay, how's next season going to turn out? I'm very excited for the NBA.
Yeah. And I just wanted to just throw this one out here. I never heard of this coach, but the Houston Rockets, they hired their assistant coach. They just bumped him up to the head coach. His name is Steven Silius. I don't really know much about him, but maybe someone.
I don't know much about him either. So he was the assistant coach originally?
Yeah, so
he probably showed some promise in that they were like, okay, let's bump him up. And that's something that, like, if we're talking about like Miami Heat, Spoelstra started like kind of as like TV and started in the production, and then went to working as a personal trainer, and then moved up to assistant coach, and then moved up to head coach. So if it's something like that where you've been, I don't know how long he's been with the Rockets, but if he's been with the Rockets and showed like staying power and like shown what he's worth to that organization, then that he could probably, like, what if he's the next Eric Spoelstra?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you never know. Anything's possible. Because like something that always comes to mind for me, I forget that. The Nets had I want to say it was about 6 or 7 years ago they had an assistant coach that got bumped up to the head coach, and he went on like a I want to say like a 15 game winning streak, like just totally just like played or had his team playing lights out. And I really wish I could remember what that coach's name is, because remember that their head coach got fired. This would probably be, I want to say, probably in like 2012-ish, 13, and then he was an interim coach, and then he went on such a huge winning streak that they bumped him up to the head coach. So I mean, if you show that promise and the potential, I mean, there's always big possibility for that. Definitely.
And hey, we might see the Houston Rockets just being, they've been a great team, and maybe they'll just be even better. So we'll see. Because I'm so excited for it to come back. I didn't even know the date, so when you told me January 15th, I was like, yes, because now I know a date to look forward to.
You actually got that from watching John Roca and Matt Nost on their top 10 show. I always love when they get into some solid NBA talk. They usually take like the first 10-15 minutes to just kind of shoot the breeze and just talk about just any random stuff.
And Nost is so knowledgeable on the NBA, so
he knows a lot. So yeah, I always enjoy listening to him talk NBA, and also too, whenever he does any episodes of Dropping Dimes. I always tune in for that one too. That's
Same,
one of my
same.
favorite. Yep. And then one other piece of NBA news I thought was actually pretty cool. So Disney actually is looking for some actors to play Giannis Antetokounmpo and his brother Thanos, and also like I want to make a movie of his whole entire family, and a movie's going to be titled Greek Freak, obviously after his nickname, and the movie's going to cover his early life and his journey from a poor family and in Greece, and his journey to the NBA, and then how he won back-to-back MVP awards, which is pretty cool. But I think that if I'm not mistaken, that they have a documentary out about Giannis. I haven't seen it yet, but
I've seen that documentary, and his
cool.
goes his life is like such an interesting one, and just like how he came to the NBA and all of that. So it is. I definitely recommend watching that documentary.
Oh yeah.
Was it HBO? It might have been. I might be talking out of my butt here. So, but yeah,
right?
Because Giannis, like, just his life story is a very interesting one, and I love seeing like stories about like people coming from nothing and then just showing like on raw talent, like just how amazing they are. And like I'm gonna say this all the time. I hope Giannis comes to the Heat.
Right. Yep. You gotta wave the banner for him to come over to Miami, right? I'd be all right with that.
If I have to eat Greek food for the whole season, I'll do it.
Right. Yep. There you go. Yeah. So that's pretty much all I have for the NBA for now. I have a little bit of NFL news. Well, actually, it's even kind of less of news. I just kind of want to just go over the some of the top NFL teams this season so far after about 6 weeks we've had, and for
Josh
me,
Makuga is definitely happy.
Yeah, I know. His Pittsburgh Steelers are the only undefeated team left in the NFL. They're 6-0, so yeah, like I'm sure he's very happy about that one. And on my house, really all me and my wife watch are the Seahawks and the 49ers, because those are our two favorite teams. But I definitely watch the highlights every single week. One of the things I always do before I go to bed, I always tune into Sports Center and I watch all the highlights. It's like kind of like a good capper to my night. So I'm always watching all of that. So, but the top teams, I'm just going to name the top 5 from the AFC and then in the NFC. So in the AFC, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have the Kansas City Chiefs, Tennessee Titans, Baltimore Ravens, and the Cleveland Browns. Surprisingly, they're 5-2, which is like pretty shocking. So yeah. So
goes Cleveland needed something. Goes after LeBron left.
Right, yeah, and like having so many years of just being like in the toilet. Like I always thought that the Browns kind of fit that like in the toilet team that they've been for so long. But now they're playing great. So I mean, they're gonna.
What's funny is my friend. She's from Cleveland. And just because like the Browns have just been so awful her entire life, she's actually a Steelers fan, so she's pretty happy. Okay. It's like her and her family all decided to pick different teams. So like her little brother is a Rams fan, her little sister is a Saints fan. She likes the Steelers. So it's kind of funny. They're like, our team's so bad, we got to go pick someone else.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for me, I grew up in Idaho, so I just had to pick the team that was closest to home. So that's why I'm a Seahawks fan. So I've been a fan of them like probably since the 90s. So I've been watching them since then. But for the NFC, my Seahawks, they're 5-1, which they lost last week in overtime with a very controversial call too. That actually scored a touchdown, and they had a holding call, and they had the touchdown taken away from which they would have won. And if you ask me, I thought that was a terrible call. Like I honestly after watching the replay, I really couldn't see where the holding really was. So, but I mean, the refs are the refs. They're out there on the field. So I'm not really going to be one of those things, or one of those people that just blames it all on the ref. But I do kind of feel like that was a little iffy call. But so yeah,
it happens.
Yep, it definitely does. So and then you have the Green Bay Packers, so that's gonna make my dad very happy. He's a Packers fan. And then you have the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Bears. And the Buccaneers.
And the Buccaneers, yeah.
Yeah, they're all 5-2. Those are your top NFL teams. There's not really a lot of news because basically there's just games every week, and there hasn't really been anything else. They're just like honestly, I feel like they're just trying to make it through this COVID season. There's not really a lot going on off the field unless it involves COVID, like the Tennessee Titans whole debacle like that.
And I'm surprised that not more teams have gotten COVID in the way that the Tennessee Titans have.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's interesting, and I'm hoping that it doesn't happen, but I'm surprised that it hasn't.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. Nice.
Oh, thank you, Weston Arrow.
Yeah, we appreciate that. So we have the big news though this week coming out of Major League Baseball. So we have the Los Angeles Dodgers. They won the World Series this week. So actually for me, I was actually pretty happy. I'm more of a Seattle Mariners fan, but if I had to pick a number 2 team, it'd probably be the Dodgers. So I'm a pretty big Dodgers fan. And even though they've been in the playoffs for the last 10 years, they haven't won a title since 1988.
Kirk Gibson's historic game winning home run.
Yep.
Exactly. With me, I was rooting for the Dodgers because even though I was I didn't want LA to win when it was against my Heat, but I was actually rooting for the Dodgers. 1, because Mookie Betts, and he was on the Red Sox, so I actually like him as a player. And 2, I just didn't want Tampa to win because Tampa was already insufferable with the Tampa Bay Lightning. We didn't need also the Tampa Bay Rays to win as well.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it was a great series, and I will say that boff that happened in game 4 is probably going to go down as one of the biggest moments in World Series history because that's not something you see every day. But I'm happy for
I'm glad for them too. I'm glad for the catcher on that end because if they would have lost, he would have lived with that for the rest of his life. And now people probably will joke about it instead of
it would have been like Bob Bugner.
Yeah, exactly.
Really. But no, it's great to see the Los Angeles Dodgers finally get that win after being the bridesmaid for 4 years and then being on the losing end of that Houston Astros controversy and all that stuff. It was great to see the win. So congratulations to the Dodgers coming from a Yankees fan.
Yeah. Even Ben.
See, Soda and I couldn't be perfect because I'm a Boston Red Sox fan.
Yeah, but here's the thing: I don't spew hate against other. I'm not like a normal sports fan. I don't spew hate at all.
It's because you're from Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, we can be major assholes when it comes to our sports teams too.
But only with hockey. Because with baseball, you guys are much nicer.
True, because all we have are the Blue Jays.
Even Ben, you got to be pretty happy about the Dodgers winning it all since you're actually from LA. You know?
Team championship in 1 year. Awesome.
As a long-suffering Vancouver Canucks fan, eat shit. I'm kidding.
I see you. You give the Canadians a bad rap. But
do we want to go into the what happened during where we had what was his name? Josh Turner?
Yeah.
Get his COVID test positive in the middle of the game.
Yes, that was
kind of wild.
Him out of the game like that, just in the middle of the game.
I know people were going, why are they taking him out of the game? What is wrong with the Dodgers? Why are they taking him out of the game? And then afterwards we found out, he was taken out of the game because he had COVID. And then he still celebrated with his teammates without a mask after the fact, which I understand, you just won the World Series and you want to celebrate, but you're putting your teammates and the Dodger staff at risk by doing that. So
yeah.
It was kind of just you really have to put a damper on the Dodgers for that because now that's something else that is being talked about instead of just the fact that the Dodgers won.
Well, there has to be a controversy about something, I guess.
Yeah.
Anything in media or sports, movies, there has to be a controversy these days.
Yep, you can't have anything great without a little bit of controversy.
No.
Gotta keep it interesting, right?
Yeah, And then there was also like the controversy involving the Tampa Bay Rays that kind of feels brushed over now, but the manager Kevin Cash pulled their starter Blake Snell from Game 6, even though he was having a really, really good game up to that point.
Oh yeah, I wonder what that was all about.
Well,
then.
yeah, like he was removed after pitching a shutout through 5 1/3 innings and allowing only 2 hits on 73 pitches. So a lot of people say that's the turning point in the game. Like if Snell had to have stayed in, there's a good chance it would have gone to Game 7.
Right. Shoot, yeah. Yeah, for me too. Like I've been watching a little more baseball, especially during COVID. It just kind of got me a little more interested this year, just to kind of see how they've handled it during COVID, which hasn't always been the greatest. I don't feel like they've handled it perfectly, but it hasn't been a total.
Look at you, Josh Turner.
Speaking to more on the Tampa Bay Rays is that they've kind of started changing the game of baseball by changing their pitchers so often by either just 1 inning or 2 innings, changing the pitcher. And that's something like my dad hates about the Tampa Rays. And he was like, I hope they lose so that way people aren't saying that's the way you need to do it, because it's something of like they're always constantly changing their pitcher after several innings. And so that cost them this time around.
It really did. Do you think that next season that's going to change the strategy, or do you think Cash is going to stick with that?
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they continue to do their strategy, because it did bring them to a World Series. So they might think, you know what, the strategy was good. It just didn't work out for us this time. So I can see him kind of sticking with what he was doing. But I kind of agree with my dad too, because there's nothing like watching like a pitcher pitch a whole game and just pitch like a shutout. There's nothing like it in the world. And so kind of with Tampa Bay, they're kind of taking that away. And I hope that that's not what it is going to be going forward with this game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what goes on with the Tampa Bay Lightning Rays going forward. I got a feeling I can say this, they'll be there next year.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And after for years being the laugh, I remember back when they were the Devil Rays and they were the laughing stock of the league.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
We now have to make the Marlins the worst team in Florida.
Yeah, but what's funny about the Marlins, the only 2 times they've made it to the playoffs are the only 2 times they've won the World Series. That still blows my mind.
But then they made it to the playoffs this year and they lost.
Oh, okay.
So this is the first time, like Miami was joking, we're like, Marlins made it to the playoffs by the skin of their teeth. And the only other 2 times they've made it to the playoffs, they won. So we're like, Marlins are winning this year.
Yeah.
We're like, Marlins are winning and the Miami Heat are winning.
Yeah,
Obviously
the
didn't
wrong
happen.
Floridian team made it.
Yeah. You just wish that the Dolphins could actually do something. I don't have very high hopes for the Dolphins, but
hey, let's see what Tua does.
Yeah.
Tua might be what we need.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, every team is due. The Dolphins are definitely due for some respectability at some point.
Okay.
Like, you can't
Yeah.
I will hold on to this forever. We're the only undefeated team that also won the Super Bowl, because the Patriots were undefeated, but then they lost the Super Bowl. So they don't count. They lost a game. They're not undefeated. Only the Dolphins are.
I have a very fond memory of that season, rooting against the Patriots in the Super Bowl, because there was a coworker who was unanimously hated that we worked with, who bet several $1,000s on that game because he was sure they were going to win.
Ooh,
and the Patriots lost, man. We gave it to him.
Oh,
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What is with that team, the Patriots? It feels like in everything they're a part of, football or even the sport out, everybody always hates the Patriots.
Because they're a bunch of cheaters.
Well, not just that. Like, I mean, I'm going to
win way
the
too much.
Boston Bruins too,
Yeah.
because it is the same area. And as a Canucks fan who had to deal with Boston fans in 2011, majority of them are assholes.
Yeah.
It's basically it doesn't necessarily come down to the team. Like, yes, the Patriots are cheaters, but for a lot of part, it's the fans that turn people off of the teams.
Or any Dolphins fan goes, I forget what game it was, but there was one game where we had to do a kick with snow on the field, but then they plowed the snow for the Patriots. So it was kind of like, oh, so this Florida team from Miami has to play in the snow, but you guys, when you have the ball, you don't have to play in the snow. Okay,
Yeah,
we see how it is.
And in 2011, like there was a lot of missed calls on the Canucks, and a lot of people were saying it's because one of the players in the Bruins, his father was the head of disciplinary for the NHL at the time. So I feel you on the hockey side of that.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, not to say they're not good teams; they truly are. It's just there was something.
I mean, Belichick and Tom Brady when he was up there, like, there's no denying that they're a great team and what. But yeah.
Yeah, and then you like on hockey, you got Chari, you got Brad Marchand. At the time, you had Tim Thomas, you had David Krejci, Patrice Bergeron. Like you have really good players on the team. It's just you're a bunch of jerks.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of it has to do with the fans, a lot of it has to do with the players, and all of it has to do with the fact that they win so gosh dang much.
Yeah, and now I can't really necessarily talk about fandom because my fan base started a riot.
Oh, really?
Well, it's funny for me though is like I have all this hate for the Patriots, but I'm a Boston Red Sox fan, so it's the same fans. That half of the year I'm like, I hate you, and the other half of the year I'm like, yeah, let's go Boston.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what's next?
Well, so
yeah, you got anything else in sports there, Jordan?
Well, so I just wanted to just throw in a little bit of college football, just because for the next couple months going forward, all we're really going to have is basically football. We're not going to have much sports, so probably you're not really going to see as much sports coming from us, but you will see definitely some football news, some solid football news. So I just want to mention some of these upsets this week, because you had some pretty big upsets. So I had the college football on the TV all day long during my Halloween, so I was watching a lot of college football. So I definitely watch. Yeah, Texas playing against number 6 Oklahoma State, and actually, I actually lived in Texas for 2 years, so I'm a little bit of a bandwagon Texas fan. You could say they're not my favorite. I'm a diehard Boise State fan, but I'm always happy to see Texas win. And they beat number 6 Oklahoma State. So, and that was a game that actually went into overtime. So that was a pretty big win for them. You also had Michigan State. They beat number 13 in their big rivalry game against Michigan. And Michigan's ranked number 13. So they took out the number 13 team right there. Then you had Virginia taking out number 15, North Carolina, which for me, I was a little surprised that North Carolina was actually ranked number 15. It's been quite a while since I've seen a solid North Carolina football team. They're known for basketball. So, and then you also have West Virginia beating number 16 Kansas State. And then I got to give a quick little shout out that my Boise State Broncos beat Air Force. At one point, they're up 43-7, but then they decided to give all their backup players a chance since they're killing them. So it ended up 49-30. So my Halloween costume yesterday, for lack of a costume, I was a diehard Boise State fan. So I have like so much Boise State gear. I have a little football helmet. I have like some Hawaiian leis. I have a giant like stuffed hand. I have some like cheerleader pom-poms. So I just brought out all my gear and just went to town. I just like dressed up in all my gear. Yep.
Very nice.
Yeah, but that's pretty much all we have for sports. Unless anyone else has anything, we can move on.
I got nothing. I'm ready to head into the top 5. I don't know about you guys.
I'm ready for it.
So as usual, it's time for my personal favorite segment. It's our top 5 where we bring our lists and we discuss them. Basically, that's all there is to it. Jordan, you're the one who came up with this list, so I'll let you introduce it and start us off.
Yeah, so this week we're going to be doing our top 5 most underrated movies. So they're basically movies that the majority of people either haven't seen them or they're widely disliked either by the critics or the fans. And so, but they're movies that we personally love. So we'll just break down our top 5.
And we want to go with honorable mentions first?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go first. My honorable mention is Major League 3, Back to the Minors.
Cool. I've seen the third one.
You know, a lot of people give Major League 2 and 3 crap, but I personally like them. There's some gags in there that are funny. One of my favorite is the rival baseball coach gets mad and he turns around and throws a baseball right at the back wall of the dugout, and it comes back and hits him in the face and knocks him out. I love stupid humor like that, and this movie is chock full of it.
Nice.
Yeah,
We love some good kind of off the wall slapstick humor.
Yeah.
Then I have 3 honorable mentions. One goes that everyone says is good, but not enough people saw, so that's why it's an honorable mention and not in my thing, and that's Booksmart.
I love Booksmart.
I love that movie.
And then we have The Nice Guys.
Yes.
Which I just want a sequel, but we're not going to get a sequel, but I want a sequel.
Yeah, seriously.
And Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift it doesn't get enough love.
Yeah, I'd say,
Fast and Furious movies.
It just came on TV yesterday, so like it just like popped on. I mean, my wife probably watched about an hour of it yesterday, of Tokyo Drift.
All right, what about you two? You got your honorable mentions.
So for me, I got my honorable mention. I have Tron Legacy on there, mostly because I love the whole world that they built, and also love the soundtrack, especially an album that's called Tron Reconfigured. That's kind of like a remix version that I actually love even more. That like I would definitely recommend that album. And then also I have a movie called The Perfect Score, which is a movie about a group of high school students that tried to steal the answers for the SATs, and it actually has a young Chris Evans and a young Scarlett Johansson teaming up before they're in the Marvel universe. So yeah, so there's that one, and then I also have a movie Orange County. So,
that's one I've been meaning to see for years. I just haven't been around to.
It's one of my favorite Jack Black movies, and one of the things that I always recommend with Orange County is that it has amazing special features, like so many amazing deleted scenes. There are these things that are called interstitials, which are like basically like ads for the movie. There's one where he's trying to get Jack Black. So the main character is played by Colin Hanks, which I believe is Tom Hanks' son. Is it?
Yeah.
So he's trying to get Jack Black to write him a letter of recommendation, because the movie's about him trying to get into Stanford, and like just like the things that he writes in these letters are just off the wall, just crazy stuff. So I definitely recommend checking out the deleted scenes and the special features for Orange County. But the movie in a whole, there's even some really fun cameos. Even Ben Stiller pops in for a minute. You see Harold Ramis. You see a lot of just fun cameos. So
nice. And Ben, your honorable mentions, if you have any.
No, Terminal. Tom Hanks. He's trapped in airport for months. I know everybody hates it. I like it. There's a story about a man who never gives up, and all he wanted to do, and he just wanted to do this one thing, and yeah. And then Star Trek and Star Wars crossover, because you have Zoe Saldana from Star Trek, and you have Diego Luna from World War in it.
Okay. You have the merging of the two.
Yeah.
Two franchises right there.
And two of my favorite Latino artists, actors, is Zoe Saldana and Diego Luna.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so Jordan, if you wouldn't mind starting us off with our proper top 5.
All right, so as we go through this too, I'm going to give you the Rotten Tomatoes score. I think we're all going to do that just for fun. And so my number 5 is actually one that I hope all you guys have actually heard of, but there's a good chance maybe you haven't heard of it, but it's a movie called Kung Fury. So
I've heard of it. Never seen
that movie. I love that movie.
So awesome.
Good.
That movie actually has an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm surprised. That
movie I didn't count it because it's only 30 minutes, but it's great.
Yeah, that movie's
off.
Yeah, the movie's off the wall. And the only reason why I mention it is because they actually have already filmed a sequel. So I'm not sure when they're gonna.
They did. I'm so excited.
But the sequel is actually gonna have Arnold Schwarzenegger, Michael Fassbender and David Hasselhoff in it. So which is like
I mean,
crazy.
don't hassle the Hoff 9000.
Yep. Yeah. So I wanted to just read you this like crazy kind of balls to the wall, just like crazy a synopsis.
Oh no, I had seen Kung Fury. I was expecting it with a different movie.
Yeah. So that's not to be confused with like Kung Pao. That's like
That's what I was thinking. With Kung
yeah.
Pao.
Yeah. So Kung Fury was so it was originally released online only, and I want to say that it's almost like a short film that when it first came out, but they're gonna make the sequel into a full length movie. But the synopsis is just crazy. You got to listen to this. So it says sometime in the early 1980s, Miami-Dade Police Department detective Kung Fury, which is actually the guy's name, his name's Kung Fury, and his partner Dragon apprehended a red ninja in a back alley, but Dragon is sliced in half by the ninja, while Kung Fury is suddenly struck by lightning and bitten by a cobra, giving him extraordinary kung fu powers that enable him to defeat his foe. Years later, in 1985, after defeating a rogue arcade machine robot, so it's an arcade machine that transforms into a robot. Kung Fury quits the force when he is assigned to partner with Triceracop, fearing that he would lose another partner in the line of duty. Meanwhile, Adolf Hitler, aka Kung Fuhrer, that they call him in the movie, enters the timeline and remotely guns down the police chief and attacks the precinct through a mobile phone. Intent to avenge the chief, Kung Fury has computer whiz hackermen send him back in time to kill Hitler in Nazi Germany. But a glitch in the system, however, sends him back to the Viking Age. After Kung Fury meets the Viking Valkyries Barbarina and Katana and the Norse god Thor, he sends him to Nazi Germany to finish the job. Upon his arrival, Kung Fury single-handedly mows down dozens of Nazi soldiers with his kung fu skills, but is gunned down by Hitler using a Gatling-type gun from inside of his podium. Suddenly, Thor, Hackerman, a Triceracop, and the Viking Valkyries and a talking Tyrannosaurus hack into the timeline and kill the rest of the Nazi army, while the Tyrannosaurus squares off against Hitler's robotic, called like the Reek Sadler, but it's basically like a robotic, like sort of like a giant eagle. So that's what he rides around on. So like basically you have this like the story of the guy going back in time to try and kill Hitler, but he goes like to several different points. They send him back to the prehistoric era. That's where he meets dinosaurs. Then he goes to the Viking Age, and like there's just so many just like super crazy hilarious quotes and then one-liners that are like straight out of an Arnold Schwarzenegger type of movie. And so that's why with a sequel, I'm pretty excited to see Arnold pop up in it, and then also Michael Fassbender, and then David Hasselhoff. I mean, I'm super excited for the sequel, and I say that it's already been filmed. So I mean, we're just in 2020. So I mean, they're literally going to release it anytime. Like you could get an announcement. Like even this week, you can get an announcement like in a couple of months, maybe next year. I'm not sure when it's going to drop, but it's going to be freaking epic. And if you haven't seen Kung Fury, the whole entire movie from start to finish is available for free on YouTube. So you can go on YouTube and you can see the whole entire thing. You know, all of it's like 80s nostalgia, kind of epic, futuristic, time traveling, Hitler killing, this dinosaur riding, the glory. Like it's just an amazing movie. So I'll just say that a lot of my movies on my list are comedies, because comedies are my favorite genre. So you're going to see a few more comedies coming up. But yeah, Kung Fury, that's my number 5.
I love that movie. And what's funny too is that the movie that's my number 3 has Jorma Tacome in it as well. And he's the one who plays Hitler. And what was funny is that
that's right, Jorma Tacome from From Lonely Island, yeah.
I
Yeah,
think I'm gonna
and
know what
what-
your number 3 is.
And what's funny too about it is that my friends and I watched that movie, and then my number 3 in one night, and we were like, "Oh, we're just having a Torma marathon." So yeah, I love that movie.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a
That's
movie me and
epic.
my friends got together and watched when it debuted because we remember the original short, and yeah, it's pretty freaking out there.
Bonkers,
Yeah.
bonkers.
Bonkers. Yep.
What do you think about it, Ben?
I have to watch it. I never seen it.
Oh well, luckily for you, it's still on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's
Maybe
short.
treat
It's like
yourself.
only 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
Nice.
Yep, so it's easily digestible.
All right, Soul, you're number
Okay.
5.
So my number 5 has a pretty star-studded cast of Henry Cavill, Armie Hammer, Alicia Vikander, Elizabeth Debicki, Hugh Grant. Has a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, and that is The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah.
Still haven't seen it.
Me neither.
And goes this
I have
I love a good spy movie, and like this movie had a $75 million budget and only made 107 million worldwide. So it still made over its budget, but not enough to guarantee for it to have a sequel. And the thing is, it ended in a way that they could have made so many more movies. And so I was really upset that like, oh, this is the only one that we're getting, because I love Armie Hammer. I love Henry Cavill. And this was one of the movies where I was like, oh, Henry Cavill could play James Bond.
Mm.
Because there was moments in it where I was just like, he's just being like a super spy right now. And he also like loved the ladies. There's a scene there where like, I think there's like 2 ladies that he ends up getting with in the movie. And I'm like, he's perfect James Bond material in this. And I want to say one of my favorite scenes is Armie Hammer and Henry Cavill fighting over women's fashion.
Oh, nice.
Oh my god.
Yeah. You know,
Nice.
probably one of my favorite scenes because actually have seen it also. I was working at a movie theater at the time that it came out. Is the bathroom fight scene when you see him fight in the bathroom? That's a pretty epic scene. So that's one I always fast forward to whenever I get a chance.
Yeah, there's great action in this movie. So like anyone that's an action fan, anyone that likes just Henry Cavill beating up some people goes, or even Armie Hammer goes. You wouldn't expect Armie Hammer beating up people, and he beats up so many people in this movie.
It is on my list, and from everything I know about the movie, like I heard a lot of people actually like it, but that's one of the shitty things about Hollywood is that it's money. It's a money-driven business, so it's like we'll never see sequels to really good movies because they didn't make money, but we'll see sequels to shit movies, Transformers, because they made a lot of money. So, it sucks, but this movie is on my list. It's just I haven't gotten around to it yet, but I do want to watch it because I love Henry Cavill, and seeing him now, it's amazing when you go back and watch the Count of Monte Cristo, and you're like, that's the same guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, the Count of Monte Cristo is my brother's all-time favorite movie. So I've probably seen that movie about 5 or 6 times. Yeah, but to see Henry Cavill in there, you're like, whoa, yeah, that's the same guy that's Superman. You're like, what the heck?
I'm just going to say this now. I totally forgot to put that one on my list because if I thought about it, that would have been my number 1. I love that movie unabashedly. But I mean, I went with movies that I'll explain my list when I get to it. Anyways.
All right, cool.
Anyone having a flyby there?
I live on a main road.
Oh, okay. All right, Ben, you're number 5.
My number 5 is a sequel to a beloved movie, and I think everybody hates this movie. Its Rotten Tomatoes score is 69. It's the highest score on my list, by the way. It is Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines.
Nice.
That is an underrated movie.
Very underrated.
I think it continues the story really well. I think it honors what came before it. And I like where it ended up. I like how it said, no matter what, this is going to happen to you. I don't get the hate about it. I love the TX. I loved Arnold in it. I even like the new Sean Connery. We don't need to talk about any other sequels after this one. But Anyway, yeah, I like this movie.
See, I find it falls into the same category as Godfather 3 and movies like that. They're good movies that came after great movies, and that's why a lot of people don't shit on it. Like, if you were to watch it, it is a good movie, but unfortunately, it has to follow what is arguably the greatest action movie of all time in terms of review. So,
I don't argue Aliens is better, but that's me.
sorry, what was that?
I would argue Aliens is better than Team
Oh,
2.
yeah. But that's what I'm not saying. Like, I'm saying, like, if you look at the Godfather 3, it's a good movie. It just has to follow Godfather 2, right? That's the category it falls into for me.
Yeah, my favorite scene from Terminator 3 is when he's riding on the back of the fire truck and he's just like slamming through like through cement walls and brick walls, and it's not even phasing him. He just stays totally still. He just just slamming through over and over again. That was just fun for me. So
yeah, I will say the villain was weak in that one, but for the most part, I thought it was decent. Claire Danes and what's his face as the new John Connor. They were good.
Nick,
Nick. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, Matt.
Okay, so I'm just going to preface this. I had a really hard time with this list because I am of the belief that you shouldn't feel, because this is essentially underrated guilty pleasure movies. This is pretty much how you pitched it, and I'm of the mindset that you shouldn't really feel guilty for liking a movie.
No.
And that's where my number 5 comes in, because it is you could throw this series into like the Revenge of the Nerds and stuff like that, where they were popular, but there are some really cringeworthy scenes. I still happen to enjoy them because I can see, they still make me laugh. So my number 5 is Porky's 2: The Next Day.
Okay.
So unlike Jordan, who's going to breaks down scene for scene, I'm just going to read the little synopsis on IMDb. So basically, a day has passed since they got even with Porky and his brother. The Angel Beach Drama Club are all set to do a William Shakespeare festival. They are opposed by Ms. Ballbricker, the girl gym coach, religious extremist Reverend Bubba Flavel and his flock of followers, the KKK, and the corrupt politicians of the city council. After their friend is beaten up by the KKK, they are betrayed by Commissioner Gebhardt, and the city council, the high schoolers seek revenge against them all. So basically, it's got a social message, but it's wrapped up in the blanket of a raunchy comedy. Like a lot, like the scene where they expose Commissioner Gebhardt. One of the high schoolers, the female lead of the movie, she dresses up and gets essentially these big fake boobs filled with fake vomit, and shows up to dinner as saying that he got her pregnant, and then she pretends to throw up into this fountain, and she releases the contents of her fake boobs. Like, that's the kind of movie we're dealing with. But it's a movie that my parents probably showed me at too young of an age. And I watch it every few years because I love just stupid humor, with the exception of Dudes, Where's My Car?
Same. Yeah, but I love just like stupid.
I'm kidding. It's not my favorite movie, but I don't judge anybody who likes it.
We'll talk after.
Dude, Where's My Car? Changed my whole drive-through experience after seeing that movie.
Yeah, I didn't bring it up, but this is the Rotten Tomatoes score has got 11% from the critics and 40% from the audience.
Ooh,
so
that is a doozy.
Yeah, like I mean, if you want a good idea of what a 1980s version of American Pie was, the Porky series is the way to go, because essentially it was the proto American Pie.
No.
I think that I saw the original Porky's. I haven't seen Porky's 2, but the original one I probably saw at way too young of an age. Also, I think I was like 8 or 9 when I saw the first Porky's. Like way too young for like such a raunchy comedy like that.
Yeah, I was just a little bit older than you, Jordan, but I remember my parents were like, "Oh, if you like American Pie, you'll like this," and they rented Porky. So it was like,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
American Pie too.
Sorry?
You might have been young for American Pie also.
Well, I saw American Pie when it came out on video in late '99, so I would have been 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Jordan, your numero capita.
Yeah, and so I'm just gonna say that I'm not gonna break any more down scene by scene. I just want to do it for Kung Fury because like it's one that you gotta like break down.
I was just busting your balls.
How like how balls to the walls it actually is. But my number 4 though, it is actually my lowest rating on Rotten Tomatoes, it's at 14%, but still to this day, I think it's the funniest movie that I've ever seen. This is a very personal one because I grew up just watching this movie over and over. But it's a movie, Beverly Hills Ninja, with Chris Farley. So like Chris Farley is like one of my all-time favorite comedic actors. Like he's like my comedy hero because one of my best friends. So I have a best friend that actually passed away about 4 years back, and that was his favorite actor of all time. And like we grew up like best friends. He was like essentially like a brother to me. And we watched every single Chris Farley movie on repeat. And our favorite two were always Tommy Boy and Beverly Hills Ninja. But for me, I just find Beverly Hills Ninja just a little funnier. Especially love the whole samurai aspect and like the ninja aspect where he says, I'm Haru from the Takagura Dojo. He has to go on this journey to find it. His white dove is what he calls it, his long lost love in Beverly Hills, but he's never been to America before, even though he's this white kid who was abandoned by his parents in Japan, and then he was picked up by this group of ninjas in Japan, and they essentially raised him. And they taught him the way of being a ninja, and like let's just say like it's Chris Farley, so like obviously he doesn't pick it up very well, and just filled with like slapstick humor after slapstick humor. You also have Chris Rock too when he gets to America. He teams up with Chris Rock, and they have a bit of an adventure that's just like hilarity ensues. Like it's just off the wall. Like just Chris Farley to me, like nobody makes me laugh harder than Chris Farley, and Beverly Hills Ninja I think is one of his funniest. So that's my number 4.
Tommy Boy is my top 3 of all time. I'm with you right there with Chris Farley. He died way too young.
Yes.
Yeah, way too young.
Chris Farley is my number 1 favorite SNL cast member.
Mine too.
Awesome.
He's definitely up there for me, but yeah, he died way too young.
Yeah.
And like you guys said, Tommy Boy is just
so quotable.
yes.
Yeah.
His best of SNL DVD is one of the few I have, and it is so good.
His and Will Ferrell's are the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the one skit he did on SNL where he was in a restaurant and he reacts badly to the news about coffee
coffee. Yes, I love
coffee. And where he goes into like flying like Hulk rage, starts beating everybody up, and then at the end it's like, we had a mishap here. We brought in the guy, and he's like sitting there with like all these bandages, and he's like, I'm fine.
He's like, sir, are you aware that you're drinking real, genuine Colombian decaffeinated coffee crystals?
Yeah.
He's like, what? You son of a bitch! You lied to me, and he just like goes on a rampage. I love that. Yeah,
and of course we can never forget living in a van down by the river.
My name is Matt Foley, or Matt Foley. I am thrice divorced, and I live in a van down by the river.
God, I love me some Chris Farley.
Classic.
All right, so what is your number 4?
So this was in the era of Disney that did not last very long. And mine is Treasure Planet. Which honorable mention Atlantis. I couldn't choose between the two, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with Treasure Planet. So I should put Atlantis in my honorable mention. This has a 69% on Rotten Tomatoes, $140 million budget, made $110 million worldwide, but only made $38 million domestically. So this was a flop. And man, this movie's so good because it's basically Treasure Island, but in space. And so with the synopsis you have after he receives a map from a dying pirate, he embarks on an odyssey across the universe to find the legendary Treasure Planet. And you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the main character voicing him. So this movie was a movie of my childhood because, as I told Jordan when we were doing our Mandalorian recap, I was born in 1994, so I was pretty young when this movie came out. So 2002 that era lasted so short. It was Treasure Planet and Atlantis, but I love both of those movies.
I've seen Atlantis more than I've seen Treasure Planet, sad to say, but I agree with you. From what I remember, Treasure Planet is very underrated.
Yeah.
I've seen both of them maybe twice, but I agree, good movie.
Mhm.
I only get the two mixed up. Which one is it with Michael J. Fox?
Atlantis.
Okay.
Yeah, and then for that one, don't watch the sequel. It's just 3 episodes of a proposed series that they put together in a movie, and it's not really that great.
Just have a sequel, huh? No.
Yeah, it's sequel.
And the animation is different too. So
Yeah, it was
obviously-
mostly CGI, wasn't it? Like computer.
yeah, it was the first computer animated was with these two
Mhm.
because they were switching from hand drawn to computer animation. So Treasure Planet and Atlantis were the very first. I don't know if they were the first, but they were in the line of the first movies that were computer animated.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Ben, you're number 4.
My number 4 is another sequel from a really great movie. High 57 on Rotten Tomatoes. X-Men.
I said hi. It's a 77.
No, 57.
Oh, okay.
57.
Okay.
X-Men, The Last Stand.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I really enjoyed this movie. I don't get the hate. You have a great villain in Magneto. You have that team working together. You have awesome fight scenes. And I'm sorry, what is the hate? Well, why do people hate this movie?
I couldn't
What?
tell you.
I think going back to what we were saying earlier about like Godfather 1, 2, 3, Terminator 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, I think it's the same thing where it's a good movie, but it was following X2.
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's fair.
For me, it has arguably the most badass scene in all the X-Men movie.
Wolverine and Beast?
No, it's when Wolverine goes and kills Jean.
Yep.
When he's walking up and you're literally seeing like his flesh stripped away, you're seeing his skeleton, he's rehealing, his sword's getting ripped off, and then he goes up and he killed her. It's easily one of the best scenes in the X-Men movie that nobody talks about.
And I am sorry, they did the Phoenix story so much better and not great, but
Yeah.
it's better than Dark Phoenix. That piece of shit from last year.
Yep.
Was that
Yeah.
last year?
Yeah.
I think so.
See
Yeah.
how long 2020 has felt? That like movies that came out in 2019 were like, oh, that was last year.
Yeah. 2019 movies were like 6 years ago.
Yeah, right. Actually, I think the X-Men: The Last Stand, one of my favorite trailers I've ever seen. Like the trailer, I remember seeing that trailer in theaters and just being blown away by it to the point where like I'll go back and rewatch it every once in a while just for fun. I even have the music from the trailer on my phone. I have it downloaded for it because the music's pretty epic in that trailer too.
Mhm.
One more thing. I put Kelsey Grammer as Beast right up there with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
that's perfect
really
casting.
good.
Catherine.
How do you guys feel about the death of Cyclops?
I don't really like it just because I felt like they like really screwed up the entire character of Cyclops. They made him kind of a pansy and like didn't really make him the like true leader that he is in the comic books. And then they killed him off way too soon. So like he never really got to do what Cyclops like what he really does. Like he wasn't the same character from the comic books in my
To
opinion.
me, they haven't done Cyclops right in any of the X-Men movies that they've done. They just haven't done Cyclops right for me.
He's the leader of the
Cyclops
X-Men.
doesn't
He's
have-
a strong
it's
leader.
Decent.
Yeah.
But I got a feeling the reason they killed him was because of Superman Returns. They were filming at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, because they came out relatively close to each other, if I'm not mistaken.
If I think about X-Men 3 too, like there's a few nitpicky things I can kind of see why people maybe don't like it so much. Like they had Magneto, someone who controls metal, just hanging out in the woods where there's literally no metal in the woods. That's like where his like whole entire like layer is for that movie is in the woods, and then also like I do kind of feel like that they kind of botched the Juggernaut a little bit. Like the Juggernaut needs to be like the Juggernaut that you see in Deadpool 2 needs to be a huge hulking giant character, and they kind of made him just like a small kind of. I mean,
Yeah. I'm the juggernaut, bitch.
yeah,
Hey, Billy Jones, he could do no wrong to me.
right.
That is true.
But yeah, they just kind of didn't really do him right. I didn't really think.
It's been a long time since it's a movie I probably should go back and watch again. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
And for me, a lot of stuff that people have problems with, they made up for it with Days of Future Past.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where they messed up a lot of the continuity too in X-Men 3. Like I always think of like what John Campea always says. He always says continuity, schmontinuity for the X-Men universe, because not only did they kill off Cyclops, then you killed off Jean, and then you also killed off Professor Xavier too. You killed off all those characters.
Yeah, and Nightcrawler's not even in this, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
Yeah, he's not even in there. And then also you randomly have Professor Xavier back all of a sudden, and you're like, didn't he die in X-Men 3? What's going on? I don't.
Yeah, they never paid that off.
Yeah, they never paid it off. I don't really understand.
Or if you look at like the newer X-Men movies where it's James McAvoy looks the same during all of those decade hopping that they do, but it's like, oh, so he's supposed to go from looking like James McAvoy to
all
kind of thing.
Time,
like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Big complaint I have about the newest X-Men movies is the age. It's
but like with the continuity, though, like when they say continuity, schmontinuity, I don't really care though. Like, I can kind of just put all that aside and I just say like, so what? Like, it's just a fun X-Men.
Well, when you're watching it, you're not thinking about it, and then afterwards, you're like, wait a second.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Matt, your number 4?
So my number 4, I'm pretty sure none of you have seen. It's actually the highest rated movie on my list. It's got an 86% on the critics' tomato meter and a 73% on the audience meter. But nobody saw it. It's a movie called Alan Partridge, also known as Alan Partridge Alpha Papa.
Never heard
of it. I'm assuming you guys are all
I've heard of it, but I've heard that name, but I haven't seen it.
I'm assuming you guys all know who Steve Coogan is, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's his most famous character, yeah. So basically, Alan Partridge originally started off on BBC and all that stuff as a talk show host, and at one point he accidentally killed one of his guests. It's this really out there character.
Talking about,
Yeah, but they made a movie in 2013. I love it. My friends absolutely hated it because they hated the character of Alan Partridge. I kind of get why. Basically, the synopsis on IMDb is radio DJ Alan Partridge is facing uncertain times with his radio station being taken over by a corporate conglomerate. He makes things worse when he talks down a colleague after a promise to talk him up. The colleague handles things badly and takes the radio station into his own hands, literally, by taking them all hostage. Envisioning all his action heroes in his head, Alan is going to save the day by becoming a go-between for the Scotland Yard. His method, though, will put himself and others in harm's way because Alan Partridge just can't keep his mouth shut. So basically, it's a comedy, but it's not like a slapstick comedy or whatever. It's more a verbal comedy, and some of the stuff in this movie is just like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, he treats everyone badly, but you can't help but love the guy anyways.
Okay, you saying comedy, but not like a comedy, makes me think of which now another honorable mention because I forgot about it is The Death of Stalin. I think that movie is so hilarious, but it's not a comedy.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
It's what it is. Like, this is supposed to be a comedy, but it's because you're laughing at the main character because he's such a fucking idiot. Like the thing says, he's always putting himself in trouble. He's always condescending to people. He's an ass to his housekeeper. One of my favorite sight gigs actually in the movie is when the disgruntled colleague played by Colm Meaney, who you guys might know from Star Trek and Con Air and stuff like that. He gets Alan Partridge's co-host and his DJ show in a chair like what I'm sitting in, ties them up with duct tape to it, but he makes this helmet with a paper towel tube in here so that way he can rest his gun in a holster and the barrel goes down the thing. So really he's holding the guy at gunpoint without doing anything. All he's got to do is he just walks up and pull the trigger. Like, it's quite the gag.
Interesting.
Like I recommend the movie, but it's one of those things that's like you have to go in understanding the character is not a likable character, but that's his charm.
Okay. Check it out for sure.
And that's my number 4.
All right, awesome. So my number 3 here. My number 3 is Employee of the Month. So it's not.
I haven't seen that in forever.
It's Employee of the Month with starring Dak Shepard, Dane Cook, Jessica Simpson, Efrain Ramirez from Napoleon Dynamite. He played Pedro in Napoleon Dynamite. But yeah, for me, I'm just a huge Dak Shepard fan. I think he's absolutely hilarious. I love every single movie that he's done. One of the funniest ones that I've seen was his role in the movie Chips. Like I remember me and my wife watching Chips and actually like laughing so hard we were crying. Like that movie is like laugh out loud hilarious. And yeah, there's some pretty crazy scenes if you've ever seen it. But for Employee of the Month, I just like the dynamic between Dak Shepard and Dane Cook. And it's one of the few Dane Cook movies that I actually like. I haven't really liked very many besides like maybe Mr. Brooks, which is not a comedy at all. But yeah, in this movie though, there's so many quotable lines, and it's also a movie that also has some amazing deleted scenes. If you go watch the deleted scenes, there's some of the funniest deleted scenes that you ever see in a comedy. And yeah, there's a quote that one of my best friends, we always will quote to each other, just kind of off the wall. But so in the movie, Dane Cook lives with his grandma, and like he's just this bum who just works at a Costco, and he lives at home with his grandma. And there's a random scene where he wants to become the Employee of the Month so he can win the girl, because there's a rumor that says that Jessica Simpson's character always sleeps with the Employee of the Month, but he obviously wants more than just to sleep with her. Like he wants to actually date her. He wants to get to know her, all of that. But then there's a scene where he's getting ready for his first day, where he's going to turn over a new leaf and not be a slacker anymore. He's actually going to work hard at becoming the Employee of the Month. So he actually like showers. He gets dressed up a little more for work, and then as grandma just says, remember, don't forget to wash your balls. It's just like a random like quote from his grandma. So like me and my friend will just randomly quote that, we like, hey, don't forget to wash your balls, like just randomly out of nowhere. So it always brings us back to that movie. But yeah, the Employee of the Month, that is my number 3. And when you watch it too, I'm not going to go through the whole entire cast list, but there's a lot of recognizable people in the movie. So it's just one of those movies that when you watch it, you'll start recognizing a lot of different faces. You'll be like, yeah, like I've seen him in a lot of other things. I've seen him. I recognize him. You recognize so many different people. So yeah, it is my number 3.
Very nice. I saw it when it came out, and I haven't seen it since, but I do remember I had some moments.
Yep, definitely.
So my number 3 goes, this one has a 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, $20 million budget, but only made $9 million. Goes in worldwide. It basically only made a little bit more worldwide than domestic. It was around the same amount, and that is Popstar Never Stop, Never Stopping.
Yes.
Underrated comedy for sure.
Because when I saw this trailer, I was like, man, this is stupid. So I was one of those that didn't see it in theaters, and then I watched it at home, and I was like, man, I wish I would have gone to see this in theaters. And I didn't even know that it flopped this bad until looking it up now, and I was like, oh man, this is really super underrated. And I love this soundtrack. I can turn on the soundtrack anytime. It's basically just a Lonely Island movie, except Andy Samberg is Connor for real, and the Lonely Island is the Style Boys in the movie. And so I just wanted to like some of the people that worked on songs with him. So you have the song called Humble with Adam Levine. You have a song called Equal Rights with Pink. You have a song called Turn Up the Beef with Emma Stone. You have a song called Things in My Jeep with Linkin Park. You have a song called Incredible Thoughts with Michael Bolton and Mr. Fish, which is Justin Timberlake dressed up in a fish costume. And I say my favorite song is the I'm a Weirdo, which is not really a song that was played in the movie, but is on the soundtrack. And I would say go watch the music video for it because it's super funny.
As you would expect with The Lonely Island. Now, you see, when you said you had Drummer Taccone on your list for your number 3, I was actually thinking Hot Rod.
Oh.
Hot Rod almost made my list. It just really missed it.
Goes, Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping. It goes, whenever I have a bad day, it's like, you got to go put that movie on. You got to go listen to that soundtrack. Goes, so pretty much the soundtrack for my number 3, 2, and 1, I can listen to anytime.
Very nice. Yeah,
I love
comedy. Should have gotten way more love than it did.
Yes.
Yeah, I love me some Lonely Island. Like I have all their music and also too, like one of my favorite things about Saturday Night Live actually was when they did the SNL digital shorts. Like hands down, that's one of my favorite things SNL has ever done. And so yeah, just like seeing those guys from
and they bring the SNL people back in the music video for one of the songs of this movie called Finest Girl.
Nice.
Parentheses Bin Laden song. Because it's basically about a girl that is telling him to have sex with him in the strategical way that the U.S. did to kill Bin Laden.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, pop quiz, favorite Lonely Island song. Mine is Jack Sparrow.
Oh, that's a great one. Probably Creep. The Creep with Nicki Minaj.
Yeah. My favorite is actually a song called Dream Girl, also known as the Chex Mix song, if you ever heard it before. Yeah. It's not one of their most popular ones, but it's hilarious if you listen to the lyrics.
What about you, Ben?
I'm with you, Jack Sparrow.
I do also want to give a shout out. I can never remember the name of the song, but it's the one where he's talking about how it's such a good day and he does cocaine.
Oh, yeah.
And then another like underrated one is Threw It on the Ground. That one's great.
Yeah, that one's classic.
Three-way.
Yes. That whole thing with Justin Timberlake, those 3, when you watch them in order, are great.
Yeah. And of course, let's not forget Jizz in My Pants.
Yep.
How about Dick in the Box and them?
Yeah, that's part of that trilogy we were just talking about.
Yep.
I think it starts with Dick in the Box, and then it's
The Mothers. The one with the Mothers.
Goes the Mother's Day, and then it's a Three-Way.
Three-Way, yeah.
Yeah, I also like the song I'm Like a Boss. So that's like so funny. Like it how it starts out so subtle and then it like takes like a sharp turn to where like he's talking about some pretty graphic stuff. He's like talking about like killing.
So every day you chop your nuts off and die.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, that escalated quickly.
All right, Ben, what is your number 3?
We're at 37%. 37. Fantastic Four, 2005.
Yeah, I agree. That is a very underrated Marvel movie.
I enjoyed that movie when it came out.
Me too.
It's a fun movie. And Chris Evans was a great Human Torch.
Mm-hmm.
Say what you want about Jessica Alba, I thought she was okay. I even like Michael Sinclair was great as a thing. What's his name?
Ioan Gruffudd.
Yeah.
Really, really hard to pronounce name.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. He was awesome as Mr. Fantastic.
Let's not forget Julian McMahon as Dr. Doom.
Yep.
I
knew an actor. And they had fun with that. I think it was okay, I guess. I hated them.
I was gonna say for me, like it's not one of my favorites, but I really enjoyed it when it came out, and like I'll go back and watch it and have a fun time.
Yeah.
Are you talking about number 1 or number 2?
Number 1. Number 2 is halfway decent.
Yeah. especially the surfer stuff. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, me too. And I'm excited for Silver Surfer to come into the MCU.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What I don't understand is how a lot of people are complaining about how the Fantastic Four movie is not the Fantastic Four, and I'm like, no, that is the Fantastic Four. I think they pretty much nailed it. It's just the movie itself was so. That is how the Fantastic Four is.
So, although we can all agree that The Incredibles is the best Fantastic Four movie.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Sorry, Josh Makuga. It is a superhero movie.
I hated the 2015 one. I know some people like it, but
it has elements of a good movie.
It was just too mangled. It was too much studio interference because I kind of enjoyed like the body horror part of it, and it's just the studio was probably thinking, oh, this is too scary, let's not go with that, and they kind of put their hands in it too much. And I think if he actually was able to do his vision with the body horror and all of that, it would have been really cool movie.
Yeah, the first half of the movie is actually pretty good up until they get the powers and stuff. And Toby Kebbell as Dr. Doom was very underrated. But if you ask me, that movie is one of the examples of why a movie studio, should never interfere in a movie. Yes, you may pay the bills, but most of those people do not know jack shit about storytelling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I found it boring. I'm sorry. I kept on.
Each their own. I haven't watched it since I saw it in theaters, but I remember not hating it.
I watched it on TV. I couldn't stay awake. It was missing that fun that the first one had.
It had potential. It's one of those where, like, when you can see the movie and you're like, this movie had so much potential, and it just didn't deliver.
Exactly. But the first Fantastic Four, back to your list there, Ben. Yeah, it is the Fantastic Four. Like, come on, it's what you would expect from that. It's got the humor, it's got the action, it's got the superpowers. Like, it's not bad.
It has a standing cameo.
Of course.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, so my number 3 is the first of a string of 3 movies that all involve music. So if you know me, you know I'm actually a huge fan of country music. And this movie, if I were to say, if you want to understand country music, watch this movie. It's got a Rotten Tomatoes score of 41%, but an audience score of 90%.
Oh, wow.
It is George Strait's only acting credit as a lead. It is the movie Pure Country.
Okay.
Every song on this soundtrack is a good song. Like, he'd easily get #1 hits in the country charts with every one of these songs. The synopsis of this movie, there it is. Dusty Chandler, George Strait, is a superstar in the country music world, but his shows have the style of a 70s rock concert. One day he takes a walk out of his overdone concerts to find his real country roots. He's helped and hindered by friends and staff, but pushes on in his search for a real music style as well as a real romance. So basically, it's a movie about finding yourself and trying to reconnect with who you are. And like I said, the music is really, really good. The acting is good. I don't know if there's anybody. Oh, well, okay. There's one person there you probably would recognize, Kyle Chandler.
Okay.
Night Lights. He plays the guy that's hired to basically be a body double of sorts for George Strait after he walks out. So he's on the stage, but the way they do the lighting is you can't tell it's somebody else. I'd say he's easily the antagonist of the film. But no, it's a good movie. It's not that long, and the music is great. And the final song is a song called "I Cross My Heart," and it is easily one of the most romantic songs I've ever heard in my life. Yeah.
Nice. So how do you think? I think George Strait did acting. Like, how was his acting?
You know what? It's good. Like, I'm surprised he didn't do more. He's actually pretty good as the lead in this. Now, granted, it's not much of a stretch from, being, he knows to be a country star and stuff like that. But I mean, he was decent in the film.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Cause like seeing him, him performing like music videos and stuff like that. Like it seemed like he'd be a pretty decent actor. Like when I think about it, kind of like in the footsteps of like a Tim McGraw, like,
or Chris Christopherson of sorts. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but if you can, I definitely recommend it. It's a simple, if you just want to watch a movie that makes you feel good and just chill, this is definitely one to watch.
Cool.
Yeah. And like I said,
Definitely
the
one to check
soundtrack
out.
is
Yeah.
banger. The soundtrack is really good.
I'm gonna go check that out because
Yeah.
if I can't see the movie, I'm definitely gonna listen to the soundtrack.
Oh
then.
yeah, 100%. Like I said, the soundtrack from start to finish, it's just hit a good song.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So what is your number 2, Jordan?
All right, so my number 2 is sticking with the theme of just kind of off the wall comedies because I love me a good off the wall comedy. It's actually Napoleon Dynamite. So, so that movie being from Idaho, it was filmed in Idaho, and actually my cousin's actually in the movie. So,
oh really cool.
yeah, so there's a scene where he's with the old farmer, and he says, do the chickens have large talons? And so my cousin's the kid standing next to him with the green shirt on. So if you watch that scene, he has the green shirt on. So he's just an extra, but he actually grew up best friends with the director Jared Hess's brother. So they were best friends growing up, and so he's able to be in the movie because of that. And then also he's actually was able to go on the set of Nacho Libre. He got to meet Jack Black too. So
Nice.
Oh, nice.
that's pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah, and actually too, there was a rumor too that he says that Adam Sandler actually called up Jared Hess, and he said that he saw what he did with Napoleon Dynamite and with Nacho Libre, and he said that he really wants to work with him because like he never thought that you could make a really successful, really funny comedy without a bunch of raunchy humor and bathroom humor and like F-bombs and all that stuff, that like he actually was able to do it. Because if you think about it, as weird as Napoleon Dynamite is, it's actually clean. Like you can watch it with your family, like it's totally clean. So and it's one of those movies that started out as a Fox Searchlight independent movie, and then it gained popularity quick, and so it was able to have a lot wider release because of that. But one of those movies that I could probably quote from start to finish. It's like, hey, Napoleon, what are you going to do today? Whatever I feel like I want to do. Gosh. So there's like so many quotes where like probably my favorite character from the movie is actually Kip, where it's like,
Yep.
he's like, Napoleon, don't be jealous. I've been chatting online with babes all day. So yeah, that movie is like one of the most quotable movies that I've ever seen. There's just line after line after line of just like super quotable stuff, and so yeah, it's one that like for the family connection that kind of drew me to it. But like I've probably seen that movie at least like probably 50 times. I've seen it a lot. So yeah, Napoleon Dynamite. That is my number 2.
Yeah, vote for Pedro.
Yes,
So,
and it flew over my head. I did not understand the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It happens. I was thinking viewing.
I love that movie, and with the whole vote for Pedro, I just want to like shout out, be like, those of us here in America, remember to vote on Tuesday.
Yep.
Whoever you're voting for, just remember to vote.
Damn straight.
Yeah, but it's definitely
I'll be watching.
One of those movies that you either understand the humor or you don't. Like it'll resonate really well with a certain crowd, but then other people kind of don't really understand it. One of my best friends that absolutely hates the movie, but I love it. So,
All right.
You're number 2.
So this movie is actually a movie mostly in Spanish. There's some parts of it in English. Because it has an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was actually made in Europe, so it has a $10 million, 10 million euros. It was the budget. But it only made 2 million worldwide, and that's from Box Office Mojo. So I'm thinking that's American dollars, so that's even less when you do the conversion rate with euros. So not a lot of people saw it. Didn't make a lot of money, but it was nominated for Best Animated Oscar. And that is the movie Chico and Rita, or Chico y Rita, if you're saying it in Spanish. And just, you start off with It's basically about these two Cubans. You have Chico, you have Rita, and they start off in Havana, and it kind of like they're two musicians and where they go off. So they go to New York. There's some stuff in Paris. There's some stuff in Vegas. There's some stuff in LA. But it's kind of like that journey of a bunch of musicians that ended up happening that came out of Cuba and went to New York, and they ended up going to other places. But a lot of Cuban musicians in real life just went up to New York. There's great music. And you see really how like jazz influenced salsa music and salsa music influenced jazz in New York, and just kind of like all of this like wonderful melting pot of stuff. It actually depicts there's this Cuban percussionist. His name is Chano Pozo, and he was shot at the age of 33 in New York, and so you actually see that in the movie, but it is animated, so it's not kind of like a gruesome scene at all. Since with the animation, it's definitely not a kids movie. There's some like adult themes in the movie, but it's really, really great. You have great music. It's just a great story about these two people going from Cuba to the United States. And I love this movie. As a Cuban, I was like, oh, this is so great just to listen to, see some of my heritage and see some of like the music that like I grew up with and my family grew up with. So yeah.
If you wouldn't mind posting the trailer in our chat, I'm actually curious to hear about that. To see
definitely.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you say that a lot of it's in Spanish? Is that?
Yeah, it's in Spanish, but there is subtitles. And if you own a library card, there's this thing called Hoopla that you can sign up completely free. All you need is a library card, and that movie is on there.
Okay.
For the States, probably.
For the States, yeah. I don't know about Canada.
You don't include Canadians in that.
They never do. That's why I hate watching commercials. It's just like, or when they're advertising stuff, it's like you forget the part where it's not available outside the States.
Yep.
That's why I never do promo codes for any of our favorite podcasts and stuff, because it's never available outside of the States.
Dang.
But yeah, I'm actually hearing you describe it, and as a music lover, I'm actually really curious about this.
Okay, so I'm gonna put up the Toronto International Film Festival trailer for it in the chat.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So what is your number 2 there, Ben?
Well, another comic book movie for once.
For once.
At a high of 30, Dumb and Dumber 2.
Oh God.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a movie.
Yeah. This movie
I like it. Now, anything good as the first one? Hell no. But it made me laugh. It was great to see Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels again.
Mm-hmm.
Meet those characters. And I had fun with it. Like I said, I know everybody hates it. I like it though. Excuse me.
No, it you know what? It has some funny moments, like the cameo of Bill Murray.
Yeah.
As Ice Pick.
Or when they go to meet Harry's real parents and they end up being Asian.
Yeah.
You're like, what the?
Or Rob Riggle.
Yeah.
It's pretty good in the movie.
As twins.
Yeah. It has some moments. I haven't seen it since I bought it. Because I watched it when I bought it.
Okay, so you bought it. So.
Oh, of course. I was back. Have you seen my movie collection? That was back in the days where I would buy anything.
Yeah, for me, it's one of those movies that like had moments where it was just laugh out loud, hilarious, almost on par with the first parts in certain moments. But then at other moments where like I thought that it was absolutely terrible, and I'm like, okay, the last scene was absolutely hilarious. This scene makes me cringe. I'm like, it's all over the place. So, yeah.
You know, I want to throw an honorable mention to Dumb and Dumberer When Harry Met Lloyd. I actually like that one.
Same.
I thought it was pretty good with the young Shia LaBeouf in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this cameo, my mom sang it.
Yeah, there's shit all over my car.
Yeah. Or we get to ride the short bus, so we all get to ride in the back and be cool.
What is his name? From the Mighty Ducks movies is in it.
Yeah, Eldon Henson.
Yeah.
Okay.
and you got Luis Guzman as Lloyd's dad, and I love it when it's like, oh, don't worry, I left my dad a message, and then you go to the high school gym, and he wrote his dad a message and ketchup on the gym floor. Oh, such a thoughtful son. It's like, what the hell?
Okay, what's your number two, Matt?
Okay, so this is another one I guarantee you guys have never seen, definitely never heard of. It is a Canadian film, but the soundtrack is amazing and encapsulates everything I love about rock and roll. It has an audience score of 71% and a tomato score of non-applicable. It is a movie called Eddie and the Cruisers 2, Eddie Lives.
I've heard of Eddie and the Cruisers. I just didn't know there was a sequel.
There is a sequel. It's way lesser known, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not a good movie, but it is a movie that still holds my attention. So this is a synopsis. In the early 1960s, legendary rock star Eddie Wilson disappeared from the limelight when he drove his car off a New Jersey bridge. Trying to escape his past, Eddie changed his name and has maintained a quiet life in Montreal as a construction worker under the name Joe West. However, the past will not die. It is screaming for resolution. His relentless desire to make music pulls him back to the stage when he forms a new band and an even better sound. Meanwhile, record company executives release newly discovered tapes from Eddie's last album and promotes a worldwide search for the mysterious rock star. Joe West has become both mentor and nucleus for his new band that dreams of making it big without knowing their mysterious leader is the real Eddie Wilson. As his new band hits center stage, Eddie finally comes to terms with his past, himself, and his music. Now, yeah, it's as bad as it sounds, but like I said, there's just enough to hold me in there. And the music, man, the music is amazing, and it's got that awesome saxophone sound. Basically, the band that does it, that does the music, John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band, you might know their song "Hearts on Fire" from Rocky IV.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The montage song, that's them. They're basically like a New Jersey style band. Really, really great stuff. Underrated. Never really went anywhere, unfortunately. But yeah, it's a movie that holds my attention. I have affinity for it because it's another movie I've been watching since I was a kid.
Nice.
Not terribly well acted, but like I said, there's something there.
So now the name kind of strikes as a movie that's set like in the 50s or 60s, but is it like, when is it set?
The first one is it's set place in the 60s, mostly from flashback, and Tom Bergeron is trying to reconcile the past in the year it came out, so it would have been like 83. This one takes place in the late 80s.
Okay.
And that's what I love about music and films, is that it really can make or break a film. So you can have a bad movie, but if it has great music, because you're going to want to watch that just for the music. And if you have a really good movie, but the music is not good, you're not going to want to watch it because it doesn't fit. So
the song "Open Road" from there is a song about like chasing your dreams and just going for what's out there, and that's one I will post in the chat. I think it's on iTunes, so I'll post a link to it. It is so good.
Oh yeah.
All right. So Jordan, you're number one.
All right, my number one. Drum roll. My number one is actually John Carter is my number one. So like this movie, it was a movie that I felt that like they totally botched the marketing for this movie. It had one of the most horrible marketing campaigns. Like the trailers didn't even they didn't really depict what the movie actually was, and to me, like, it was an amazing movie. So when it starts off, it starts off as a Western, and so you're in, like, I want to say like the mid 1800s, and actually has Bryan Cranston as the sheriff. Then you have Taylor Kitsch, of course, in the lead role, and this is probably a movie that my wife is probably completely sick and tired of hearing me talk about, because I talk about this a lot because I have so much love for this movie, because I love how they combine the Western aspect with him being transported to Mars, and then he has all these adventures on Mars, but it's also a really cool love story. So he ends up meeting this girl on Mars, and they fall in love, and then it's the journey about how they end up getting separated, and how it actually takes him 10 years to find his way back to Mars, because he has a way to transport himself to Mars, and then somehow he gets transported back to Earth, and then he has another journey trying to find a way back to Mars, back to his long lost love, and so like I just love everything about it. Like it has great adventure, it has great the love story, obviously, and then even has some humor thrown in there. Like I really like his little sidekick dog that he has on Mars, a little Martian dog that can run super fast, and then just like what they did with the alien creatures on Mars, I thought was a lot of fun too. And this is just one that, like, whenever anybody talks about an underrated movie, the first movie that always comes to my mind is John Carter. I have been like wishing that they wouldn't have screwed it up so bad as far as the marketing goes, and if more people would have gone out to see it, that actually could possibly have gotten a sequel to it. So, because I would love to see a sequel, but unfortunately it performed horribly. And actually, I forgot that I forgot to mention my Rotten Tomatoes score. So John Carter got a 52% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then I forgot to mention my two previous ones actually. Employee of the Month was a 20%, Napoleon Dynamite was 32. So, but yeah, John Carter. I kind of feel like maybe they should have called it John Carter of Mars.
Like
yeah.
The books are called.
Yeah, so you could actually like get a little more like feel it in a sense of a little bit more what the movie might be about. But yeah, but that is my number one. I absolutely love John Carter.
Right on. That's it's on my list in Disney Plus. I still haven't gotten around to watching it because I hear it is actually pretty good.
Yeah, same for me, because I have it to watch.
It's actually amazing that like, and also it is a movie that surprised me that actually has some pretty emotional scenes too, that like got me like almost shedding some tears a little bit. So yeah.
Very nice.
Yep.
We're gonna go with my number one, and this is a movie also that has great music in it. And I actually, like, when I saw it, I was like, okay, one of these songs is gonna be nominated for an Oscar, and then it wasn't. And so it made me sad, kind of like in the way that Sing Street I thought was gonna be possibly nominated, and what wasn't. Because this has a star cast. You got Nick Offerman, Kiersey Clemons, Toni Collette, Ted Danson, and Blythe Danner.
What movie is this?
Yeah.
And this is the movie called Hearts Beat Loud.
I've never heard of this.
I never heard of it either.
It has a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
92.
And it had a $1.8 million budget and only made $2.4 million in the box office.
Oh, wow.
So ouch. Nick Offerman plays the character Frank Fisher. He's a former musician, he's a single dad, and he's a record shop owner. And then you have his Kiersey Clemons plays his daughter Sam, and they live in Brooklyn, and the movie is set in the summer before she goes to UCLA for pre-med. So when he was back in a band, because he is a former musician, he was in a band with their mother, who sadly passes away before the movie ever starts. So you kind of go into the movie where he's a single dad, the mother goes, the wife is no longer there with them. And so with that goes him, and he's always been wanting to make a band with his daughter, and his daughter's been like, nope, I'm good, I don't need to do this. But one day they have like just a jam sesh, and they create the song called Hearts Beat Loud, which I was like, this should have been nominated for an Oscar, and it wasn't. And without letting his daughter know, he puts it onto Spotify, and it goes onto like the new indie list. And so he's in a coffee shop one day, and it's playing in the coffee shop.
Ooh, that's like a like really cool moment right there.
Yeah. So he's just like, this is my song. Like, kind of
awesome.
And so it's just kind of just really cute story of like this father and daughter who, like, music is a big part of their family. Like Blythe Danner, she was also a musician. So like there was music throughout this whole family. And Blythe Danner plays the grandmother of Kiersey Clemons, the mother of Nick Offerman. And so you have kind of where music was kind of not a part of this family. Even though he owned the record store, they weren't really doing music together because of after the mom passed away. And it was kind of where these two people who love music kind of found the music back with each other. And it's a very, very cute movie. It's a very endearing movie. You have this kind of like cool love story, both with Nick Offerman and Toni Collette, and then Kiersey Clemons, and like she has a lesbian love story in the movie as well. So it's a very interesting movie. Great music. My favorite song actually is "Shut Your Eyes" on there, which is Nick Offerman singing and playing the guitar.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah. And this one is also on Hoopla. Library card, you can watch it.
Nice.
I remember seeing the poster for this now because I'm looking it up on IMDb. Yeah.
It sounds familiar. Yeah. So I forget. Did you say when it was released?
2018.
Yeah. Now that you explain a little bit about the movie, that actually it sounds pretty familiar. I think I might have saw a trailer for it.
Yeah. And the funny thing too is the name of their band is We're Not a Band, because like Nick Offerman's like, so are we going to be doing this? Like, are we going to make a band? And the daughter's like, no, we're not. And he goes, we're not a band. And so when he puts it on Spotify, he puts the name of their song, name of their band as We're Not a Band.
I like that.
That's funny.
Nice.
There it is. Yeah, I'm trying to see if it's available for streaming. And no. I'd have to rent it.
Sorry, Matt.
Okay, I'd have to rent it. It's perfectly fine. I will watch it. It sounds like honestly, it sounds like a movie that's right up my alley because I love those type of movies.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, you're number one.
All right.
Spider-Man 3.
Okay. Let's read the Spider-Man 3.
Okay.
I like this movie. The only thing I don't like is the nightclub scene. In order to talk about that,
The which scene?
nightclub.
Yeah, that's easily the worst scene in the movie.
But I love the Sandman.
Mm-hmm.
I like what they were going for with Venom. Because to me, what they were trying to do with Venom, to me, was make a mirror version of Tobey Maguire, an evil mirror version. And that's kind of what they did with Topher Grace. They took, and did a mirror version of him. I could have done without the amnesia plot, but I like James Franco. I like what they did with Goblin. I like this movie. I like him quite a bit. See me.
Well, no, I'm not going to sue you because it's your opinion and you like it. My biggest thing about the movie is there's too much going on.
Okay, that's fair.
And also, it falls in the same category of what we mentioned earlier with Fantastic Four Stick, just not as bad. Is that movie? It has a lot of studio interference, which is why Venom is in there. What I would have done is I would have focused on the Sandman being the main plot and the Green Goblin as the B plot.
Yep, same.
Because there was enough there with the Sandman and tying him into the Uncle Ben death that you would have had a really good movie on your hands. You didn't need Venom.
I'm gonna push Venom. I kind of like what they did, but they could have pushed him to number 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I just kind of think that for me, I love Topher Grace as an actor, but like for the Venom character, the Eddie Brock character, I feel like it was horribly miscast. That I don't really think he really fits it, but he is a great actor, maybe for a different type of role, but not for the Eddie Brock character. That it just like threw me off, kind of.
Yeah,
I guess I'm aging myself too as much younger. This movie came out when I was in 7th grade. So as a 7th grader, I thought the movie was awesome. And then when I watched it like as an adult, I had the same feeling of, okay, there was a lot of stuff happening in this movie.
Yeah.
But I like it better than the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'm sorry.
Everybody does.
Oh yeah, yes, definitely, 100%.
Yeah, and this is another movie that falls in that category, which we've brought up a few times. It had to follow a great movie.
Right. 2 great movies. But yeah.
Now
I would say that because Spider-Man probably is one of my favorite like superheroes, and so when like those first two movies came out, those were like my life, man.
I remember when they came out, but I gotta say, I don't think the first Spider-Man ages too well.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know, it's just something about it. I don't know, maybe it's because we're spoiled with Tom Holland or something, but I found it just doesn't age as well.
Yeah, for me, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I got my little Spidey hat here. That's my favorite character. But now, do you like emo Peter Parker? What do you think about that, Ben?
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I know it's funny. I felt
And I loved in the Spider-Verse where they played off on it with his
for
little
sure.
dance.
Yeah.
They were in number 2. I think I know what they were going for. Number 2, they had him be all happy and go lucky in that montage.
Mm.
And in number 3, it's like the complete opposite of that. And yeah, they might have pushed it too long, and I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And that's the beauty about movies. Like, some of us may not like them, but you like them, and that's really what's important.
For me, I actually do like Spider-Man 3. I don't love it, but I really like what they did with the Sandman character. I like what they did with the Green Goblin, but I just felt like the Venom was kind of just totally out of place in that movie. But somebody actually sent me this pretty funny GIF that has emo Peter Parker just dancing down the street, and every time that he snaps, you see one of the Avengers disintegrate. Like
I've seen that GIF before.
That's pretty good.
Don't get me wrong, it's not my favorite Spider-Man movie.
Mm.
But I have fun with it.
No, for sure. It's that's out of that original trilogy. I think that's the one that's been the longest that I've seen.
Yeah, and the Sandman is a character I'd like to see in the Tom Holland Spider-Man universe.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to be that exact actor, but like a version of that character, I think could be a lot of fun in that universe.
Oh, for sure. And they made him very sympathetic, which I actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt. Well, here's number 1.
So my number 1 has a Rotten Tomato score of 36%, an audience score of 53%, and I admit it's not as good as the first one, but the music is just as good in my opinion, and it is Grease 2.
I love that movie.
Great movie.
Right?
Yeah.
I love that movie so much.
And you know who else loves that movie? Gabrielle Union.
Yes, thank you very much. Like I said, I know it's not as good as the first movie. You know what? The first movie's not that good either. I actually find myself.
Yeah, that's a little blasphemy there.
Yeah.
You know what? It's my favorite musical. Grease is my favorite musical, but I can admit it's not that great. Like, it's not that great of a movie, but I still love it. Right?
Yeah.
Actually, truthfully, I've actually watched Grease live more now than I do Grease because I think I watched Grease way too much as a kid. Like, I've got the whole movie memorized.
Oh, no.
But Grease 2 is just there's something
about it. Yeah.
There's something about it. And and the music in that movie, like Cool Rider, is such a good song. Mm-hmm. And so is the starting track, Back to School Again.
Mm-hmm.
It's a banger soundtrack. And you have Christopher McDonald in one of his earlier roles as Goose. Adrian Zmed as Johnny Nagarelli. Judy Garland's daughter as Paulette. And Michelle Pfeiffer in one of her first roles. I can't remember if this was before or after Scarface, though.
I think after.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's just such cheesy fun, and I love the scene where they had the song "Reproduction."
Yeah,
it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah,
I've got those songs on my phone, so every time they come on when I'm at work, I just can't help but laugh.
It's such a feel-good movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Both of them, 1 and 2. It was just like, if you want to have a good time, you just pop those in.
And then,
for sure.
And I like the whole Superman Clark Kent angle they did with the movie. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and how they reversed it where it's the guy who's trying to get the girl's attention instead of the other way around, right? Oh, it's such a fun movie. I have loved it since the first time I saw it on VHS.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like one of the things that always makes me laugh about Grease too, just all the sexual undertones of that.
Oh God,
They're just like all
reproduction, dear Lord! I want a cigarette after I hear that song.
yeah, right. Serious.
How about that one guy singing about in the booklet about New
Oh,
York?
let's do it for our country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite song in the whole movie.
What's funny is on the soundtrack, like in the movie, it's both of them singing, but on the soundtrack, it's just him because she forgot to show up to the recording session. Yeah, so it doesn't quite hit as good on the soundtrack as it does in the movie, unfortunately.
Sure.
Because I will say though, probably "Cool Rider" is my favorite song from.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is a song you can easily like just take away from the movie and enjoy it. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, but now I want to go watch this movie after this.
I'm so happy I have it on Blu-ray. I bought when a couple years ago they released on Blu-ray Grease 1, Grease 2, and then Grease Live as a set, so I bought it.
Nice.
Yeah,
The reason why I like Grease Live more, I'd say I watch it more now than I do the original Grease, is because it does what Footloose remake did for me, where it flushes out some of the character motivations in the movie. So you actually learn a little bit more, like you learn a little bit more, like why Kaneki is the way he is when it comes to when he finds out that what's her face Rizzo is pregnant, and just a lot more like it goes more in depth to the characters than the movie does.
Oh, Rizzo's song in the first movie like gets me every time. Goes where it was like, but to cry in front of you, that would be the worst thing to do. I'm like,
yeah, hopelessly.
Yeah.
There are worse things I could do. Yeah.
It's a good movie. Great movie.
Yeah. My mom introduced the first Grease to me when I was 3 years old, and I've been I've probably had that soundtrack memorized since I was 10.
I think the first time I saw it was at summer camp.
Oh, nice.
So Matt, you must love what they did in Home Improvement in that one episode.
Oh yeah, of course. When they did the reveal for the car, Grease Lightning.
Yeah.
So fun fact about that song, like the original stage play is very, very raunchy, and obviously they had to tone it down for the movie. And Grease Lightning is about making a car into a sex machine, a sex bed. And it's John Travolta snuck in a little bit of a nod to the original play, like when he's got the saran wrap and he rubs it over his crotch. It's supposed to be symbolic of a condom.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I made John Travolta.
I miss that John Travolta.
Yeah.
Classic, not gaudy John Travolta. We don't need gaudy John Travolta. Grease John Travolta, Air America John Travolta, Look Who's Talking John Travolta, which I think is an underrated movie. Or even what's the musical? The
Hairspray.
What's Hairspray? Yeah, Hairspray John Travolta.
Yeah. That role of Edna Turnblad is like one of my two dream roles to ever do in a musical. That and Max Bialystock from The Producers.
The Producers, that's my favorite musical. If we're gonna talk about favorite musicals, The Producers.
That's up there. That's like number 2.
Yeah,
number
like
1 for me. I love it.
For me, like I'm not really a big musical person. Like I'm not someone who really likes musicals very much. But like, I probably could count on one hand the musicals that I do like. But Grease 2 it is definitely on that list. I actually personally like Grease 2 better than Grease 1. That's just me. I actually
there are some days where I feel like that too.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is he has enough for a top 5.
You have enough for a top 5, but that's it. It probably wouldn't go much more than 5. Like I'm not huge in the musicals, but I could come with a solid top 5.
You know, that actually wouldn't be too bad of a pick for somewhere down the line. Top 5 musicals. It sounds like we've all got a fair amount of musicals we like. So
yeah.
And so with that, it finally brings an end to our show. Thank you very much for listening. Ben, what is our topic for next week?
The topic is your top 5 sitcom couples.
I've got my top 3 already.
I have anybody, yeah.
I already know my number 1.
I have one.
Number 1, it like has to be number 1, no matter what. So you probably can already have an idea.
I think I know what yours might be.
Yeah. If you know what my favorite TV show is from
I know what it is.
Our previous list, then you'll know.
Yeah. Probably my top 3 are probably the most 3 that are talked about a lot.
Yeah.
My number 1 should be talked about more. in my opinion.
Yeah,
I wonder if yours and Mike's number one will be the same.
I'm sure that the one that I'm thinking of right now, you guys all have, but I'm just gonna.
Yeah, let's not reveal our lists.
Not yet, but I think this might be the easiest list for me. I might even be able to just like think of my top 5 while I'm sitting there. Like, honestly.
Yeah, I think I might be in the same boat.
Yeah. So yeah, but I think it's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah. So with that, thank you very much for joining us. Ben, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at BenRader2 on Twitter. You can find me on my Mount Schmodown show every Saturday. And you can find me every Tuesday with Matt. Get sweaty. And
This is get sweaty then.
Sorry. Shooting the breeze. Sorry.
Yeah, and this past week we just had. Who did we just have?
50.
Oh, we had 50. Sorry, 50. Shit blends together. We had a great conversation on the show Smallville, so definitely check that out.
Yeah.
All right, and Soul, what about you?
You can find me at SoulGovin on Twitter, at soul.k.govin on Instagram. You can also see me on the Pop Culture Universe YouTube channel. I'm going to be popping in every once in a while there. And just remember to vote November 3rd.
Definitely.
100%. And as a Canadian, I fully support that. Go vote. What about you, Jordan?
So for me, the best place to find me is actually on YouTube. So I'm just going to talk about some of my YouTube stuff. I'm my own YouTube channel called Movie Hero. We just finished ranking our favorite video games of all time. We had so much we had to break it down into a part 1 and a part 2. But we got a series called Tier Ranker Movie Fights, where we rank on a tier ranking system that goes A, B, C, D, E, and F. And then also too, I'm going to be announcing later this week. I'm going to have another show on the Media Sweaties Network. It's going to be called Blind Spot. So basically what it's going to be, I'm going to be putting up some polls in the Media Sweaties Facebook group of all of my blind spot movies that I haven't seen. So I'm going to list probably about 10 of them. I'm going to let all the fans vote. You can vote on which ones you want me to watch, and then I'm going to watch them. And then over a 2-week period, I'm going to watch 2 of them, whichever 2 get the most votes. And then I'm going to do a little bit of an in-depth review on those movies. And so if you want to pick some of your favorites, or if you want to torture me, because I'm going to have good movies, I'm going to have bad movies. These are all movies I have not seen. So if you want to pick a bad movie and want to make me watch something horrible, or if you want to watch me watch one of your favorites that I haven't seen, because I have some pretty huge movies on my list that like you would think that like everyone should have seen by now, but they're just holes in my viewing. So that will be announced when that show's going to air later this week.
Hey, call me when you get to Eddie and the Cruisers too. Eddie lives.
Yeah. Well, that'll be on the list, actually. I'm going to add it right now.
And you can find me at Instagram, Twitter at soda_the_saxman. You can find me, like Ben said, Thursday nights on Shooting the Breeze, and every Sunday here on Get Sweaty. You can also find me over on the Schmoes of the North YouTube channel, where every week we break down the week in movie and Schmodown news. We didn't do one this week because I think we're all kind of a little bit burnt out at the moment. But we will definitely be back next week with the start of the teams tournament, and we should be dropping also on Monday. Daniel had Frank Janish on the show, and they broke down the teams in the tournament, I was producing that one for reasons. I was sitting in the back eating peanut butter. Let's just say that's how my night was going. It was a great interview. We just also dropped our latest edition of Northern Consultations, where we had the Misfits on, Eric Zipper and Adam Witt, which was a very good conversation. We played the Newlywed Game with them, which was pretty fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, definitely a great time. You got to see me bring out my fancy leather grease jacket, my biker jacket.
Ooh, nice.
So definitely check that out. And also, I want to plug something that that's dropping for them today that they announced on our show. They're doing a parody of the movie Trivia Schmodown that has Ken Knapsack versus Janine the Machine, and with Kevin Smets and John Kaiser. Trivia match all on the movie Flash of Genius, which is about the making of the windshield wiper. All the questions are about this movie. Definitely check it out. I've seen the trailer. Adam told me about it a long time ago. Definitely check it out. It's worth it. And if I'm not mistaken, it's they're doing something for Smets with this too. So
awesome, yeah. And I always love when Adam and Paul do this kind of stuff. Like like they're super funny guys. So like
Yeah.
I look forward to this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I wanted to plug that for them. Definitely check that out. So on behalf of everybody here, I want to say thank you very much for joining us, and stay sweaty, folks, and don't forget, smash cancer.
Smash cancer, stay sweaty.
Yep.